Boy!
What up?
I don't know.
You know what today starts?
What does today start?
A new era.
The era has begun?
No, the era has become.
Oh, what does it become?
Well, non-football.
Oh, I don't like that era.
You know?
Yeah. Waiting for the UFL.
It's kind of exciting.
I think it's the
era
UFL.
has become.
It has become. Anything is possible!
Because this marks a shift in our show, and you'll probably notice.
Deep dive into the NBA, the All-Star game? No?
A lot of D'ing off.
Major League Baseball uniform talk?
More so than usual.
Yeah.
What was that all about today? I saw...
Well, Fanatics, if you ever ordered anything off of Fanatics,
No.
don't, because
Why?
everything they make sucks.
Oh.
But they've become a big deal, and that dude, I forget what his name is, the guy that runs Fanatics. He's a giant doucher, but like all the celebrities love him. Like he throws like big parties, so he had like a big Super
It's
Bowl.
Michael Rubin, who has the huge Miami white party with all the celebs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's him.
And he owns the Sixers. Who did he buy?
Sixers, I believe.
Sixers. Yeah, he's a giant douche canoe, but he's like the young hip billionaire. He's like, So Fanatics has grown into like this big giant conglomerate now.
It's an empire.
Yeah. So when you like go to MLB.com or
I've never even been to Fanatics.com.
Well, here's the thing. You may not have, but when you go to like Major League Baseball or the NHL website and you go to like the team store, those are run by Fanatics. And like Fanatics is now making like the NHL jerseys, and Fanatics is actually going to make the Major League Baseball jerseys this year, but Nike is licensing their logo. So Fanatics is making them, Nike is putting their logo on it.
So the quality's gone way down, but it's supposed to still look like it's an upper tier brand.
Yeah, and they've actually raised prices.
And if you've bought something through a team store, that's kind of not the top tier quality, like not a top jersey or something, it's a Fanatics shirt.
And so, like, they suck. Like, please, just as a PSA, stop giving Fanatics money. First off, if you order from them, you don't know what you're going to get. It's like Wish. It's flip a coin. Maybe you get what you ordered. Maybe you didn't. And if you do get it, chances are it's going to be a hunk of crap. They make like the worst things. And so now they're making like replicas and on-field stuff, and not only are fans pissed, but players are pissed. Now you got Major League players coming out and being like, dude, I don't know what these are, but these suck.
See, I thought it was a shot at Nike because
people are upset at Nike for licensing their stuff to Fanatics.
So I didn't look too far into it because I'm just kind of tired of people bitching about everything.
Sure.
And they were like, because I guess they released 9 new Nike.
Yeah, they're like city. Think about like
city jerseys.
Yeah, like what they do for the NBA. Yeah.
They did that in baseball, and some people were like, "Oh, these are terrible." And so I was like, "I'm sure they're fine," but you know how people are when something first comes out, they have to take a dump on it.
Well, there's a difference between.
So I didn't know that.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, there's a difference between not liking the designs and they're just making crap.
Well, that's what some of the comments were. These look so cheap. I'm like, dude, Nike doesn't make cheap stuff. Well, let me retract that.
Walk it back.
But I don't know. I just I don't want to hear it.
Well, and this is the problem. Nike makes really nice stuff.
But now I get it.
The problem is that when Fanatics is making it and then slapping a logo on it, and when people are putting up side by side, like the Mariners, a bunch of Mariner fans have put up like last year's jerseys. And look, you're spending money. If you go to a ballpark and you buy the not even the authentic on field one, but like the nice replica, you're into it for a 170. And when you're spending $170 and you're getting like a sub-laminated piece of crap that just looks janky, like, come on. And they've actually raised the price to like $190, and so people are putting up the side-by-sides. It's pretty bad. So
is this like when Alaska Airlines, Boeing outsources the door plugs to some crappy-ass company that doesn't screw it in properly, and then
bingo,
somebody dies?
Yeah. So that's why people are upset at Nike, is that...
Well, they don't, but they farm out a lot of stuff, don't they?
I don't know how much, like, as far as I know, like this, as far as like uniforms go, I haven't heard of them farming out this sort of work, because everything is being made by Fanatics in Fanatics facilities and then just throwing the logo on it. Now, I have told the story when I first got to BYU, we were a Nike school, but not an important one. So all of our stuff was Wilson. And then they just crudely sewed the Nike patch over the top and the Wilson logo bigger than the Nike one. So they just took a similar color and then just cut a circle patch out and then sewed it over the top of the Wilson logo.
So Nike wouldn't even make you uniforms. They just gave you patches
back in the day. And then I want to say like my second or third year there, then we actually got Nike uniforms. But yeah, my first year or two there, everything we had was either Russell Athletic or Wilson, and then just crudely sewing Nike patches over the top. Man. And I was like, wow, you can tell who's important. And now that, they don't do that, at least they don't at BYU. But yeah, that's why everyone's pissed at Fanatics, and I couldn't agree more. So once again, stop giving Fanatics money. That place sucks.
So where am I supposed to go for? See, I don't buy a lot of sports gear.
Yeah, I don't really either.
And so that's probably why Fanatics is sort of foreign to me.
Yep.
Like I have a Padres hat, but I bought that at the Padres game.
And it's probably New Era.
Yeah. I think it's New Era.
New Era makes all that.
And I have a Royals hat, and I bought that in Kansas City when they won the World Series. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other sports gear I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go to fanatics.com right now.
You don't want to do that.
I'm going to check this out.
So and that's the problem, is that a lot of the stuff on Fanatics now is just, they do sell other brands, but a lot of it is the Fanatics brand itself.
So how do they get away with that? They just bought the licensing from each team?
From each team.
They say, hey, we're going to pay you a bunch of money. We're just going to...
Yep. They become licensed, and so they're making like the NHL uniforms. Like they made the All-Star uniforms for, I think, for like Adidas.
So wait,
and people are now posting all of the. There's a whole like Twitter account called like Fanatics Sucks, where it's just people are showing like, I ordered from Fanatics and this is what I got.
Oh really?
It's really
well,
bad.
I'm looking here at the Royals section.
Yeah,
and most of this is New Era.
Well, that's good.
And here's a Royals jersey that's Nike.
Yeah. See, but now people are pissed, because it used to be when you ordered Nike, you knew you were getting Nike, and now people are like, am I getting Fanatics with a Nike swoosh? And so that's again why people are mad at Nike.
It says replica, so that probably means it's the Fanatics version.
Good chance that's the Fanatics version if it's this year's.
Man, they got some cool stuff on here.
So.
Well, I'm not going to buy any of it, but
yeah, it's a dicey bet. I've ordered probably a handful of things over the years from Fanatics. Like once I ordered a New York Mets like long sleeve something or other, and I got a short sleeve California Angels t-shirt.
Wow.
And I was like, well, what? Okay.
That maybe explains something that happened over Christmas. We bought Meat wanted us to buy a Padres beanie for one of the girls, the nieces.
Yeah.
And a Buffalo Sabres beanie showed up.
Sounds about right.
So I'm guessing I'm starting to put two and two together here.
That's Fanatics. I've ordered probably 5 or 6 things over the years from Fanatics, and I'll bet you I've gotten my order maybe twice that without having to be like, well, this. And sometimes like it's the wrong shape. Once I ordered something, I think it was a Red Wings thing, and the logo on it was like sideways. It was like at a 40-degree angle. I looked at it and I was like, what is like this? And the name on the back was all peeling already. And like I emailed them and they're like, well, you need to send that one back. I'm like, you want this? Like, what are we? Like, I won't order anything from Fanatics anymore.
Someone here on the Vancouver Fort text line said, I ordered a men's XXL 2020 Dodgers World Series Championship t-shirt. They sent me a women's small.
Yes. Like that. I'm not kidding. It happens. I don't know how companies like, you would think in today's day and age that when you produce crap and you have horrible customer service and you have problems, like you get exposed, right? And like you stop growing, but somehow Fanatics just keeps getting bigger, and I can't figure out how, because like everyone that deals with them all says the same thing.
Well, I'm looking here. Their valuation is $31 billion. So
right,
life's good.
It's just so bad.
God,
I can't figure it out. It's like how Applebee's became so big. You're like, what? Who? And the stuff isn't even like cheap either. You would think like if you're buying,
it's just cheaper than like the top tier stuff.
Yes.
And so they've almost set themselves up first as like the low price leader, but they've been able to creep that up now.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, not everyone wants to spend $45 on a t-shirt. I get it. But the Fanatics one's like $34 and it's a hunk of S. It's awful. They make the worst stuff. So
anyway. It sounds like just Googling and all that.
Yeah.
Nike and Fanatics have been in bed together for several years, and Fanatics makes a lot of the college stuff. It says they
buckle up.
They share the rights to serve a number of major universities.
Yeah.
So Nike's just like, you do it, you get half of it.
Yep. Huh. Well,
that's interesting.
People are unhappy with the NHL stuff, and people are certainly unhappy with the Major League Baseball stuff. People are unhappy
with everything.
Yeah,
Look, I'm not saying they're wrong.
They have a right to be unhappy.
They're always unhappy. And by the way, that's hot sports business talk here on The Fan. You guys like sports business? You never know what you're going to get these shows here until we get to, I don't know, football again.
Yeah. I'm passionate about my anti-Fanatics hate, though. I feel strongly about it.
What is the competition, or who is the competition?
Well, I mean, I guess it would be just, Nike, Adidas, all that stuff. The problem is that when you go to team stores now, more often than not, it's Fanatics.
It's just vague. You don't know who's making what.
Yeah, and Fanatics runs the NHL and the MLB shops, and, you got to be careful with what sort of crap you're buying. And if it says Fanatics on it, I'm telling you, it's like that Temu stuff. They ran like 19 different ads on Temu.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
What is Temu?
It's the Fanatics from China, apparently.
Temu.
And they just want to steal your credit card information and then send you crap.
Yeah, Temu is like it's like an Overstock.com.
Yeah, it's like a bad Chinese version of Overstock.com that just has horrid reviews.
Wow, 90% off here, it says.
Exactly.
Huh.
You don't
wonder what the catch is there.
The catch is they get your credit card. You get discounted merchandise and they get your identity and credit card.
Oh, so here's a mop for $3.48.
And you don't know what's showing up at your doorstep. But people see $3, like, I better buy.
I'll stick with Amazon.
There you go. I think that's probably
I like Amazon.
best.
Although some of it's generic on there too. You ever look on there?
Oh yeah.
And you're like,
just be aware of what you're buying.
You're just looking for something that you don't know much about, right?
Yeah.
And so you just go on Amazon. It's like, I wonder what they have the user's choice or like people's choice one.
Yeah, it says like Amazon's choice.
It's always the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
Because people are cheap.
You just got to be aware. You just got to pay attention to what you're buying, because it's not always.
Yeah, but that's hard when you're ordering online. You got to. When you're in a store, it's a little easier.
Let me just say this, and again, not everyone can buy what they want to buy, and I get it. Right. We all want the best bargain, but
tell me what to buy.
Let's say you're shopping for a widget, whatever it is you're buying.
Okay.
And all the widgets that you see are $39.99, and then you see one for $8.99.
Yes, that's my widget.
You might want to be aware that there's a reason why one's $8.99 and the rest of them are $39. Now, if it's like $4 or $5, yeah, but like one is an eighth of the cost. Yeah, just be aware. You may not be getting the best thing in the world. And you read some reviews and people are like, it was cheap. They're like, like that's
people like that though.
But that's like, but
don't they like getting something?
Yes, but when you read the review and the review is, well, it's not great, but it's cheap. Like, that's not.
I think that's the overriding. That's what people want.
That's not a rousing endorsement.
No, but it's what people want. See, they're just giving people what
some
they
people want.
So,
it's not priority for a lot of people.
I know, but dude, come on, man. There is a market in any product. There is a lowball market for any product.
Yeah.
That people do not care. They just want it cheap.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot of people like that.
Just remember, whether
I know them.
Whether you're buying widgets or hookers or blow, never go with the cheapest one. It's not going to end up well for you.
I mean, I don't know.
That fentanyl thing, you're like, it's probably
not the blow part.
It's probably going to be.
I was thinking more the.
It's going to be fine.
Hooker part. You can get what you need.
Yeah, I think you get what you pay for a lot of the times.
All right. Well, you guys want to talk sport?
Yeah, why not? Someone said we're going to do 3 hours of online shopping if you're lucky.
I don't need anything right now.
I don't really either.
Have you noticed you go through spurts of shopping?
Oh, yeah.
Like where it's like, I kind of need, I don't know, it just seems to all come at once. And right now I'm in a lull of, I'm good.
It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make it last as long as possible.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my special lady friend to go through one of those, but it doesn't. Like, I would like to think
I don't think the ladies ever stop.
There's peaks and valleys or plateaus. She more is an Everest sort of gal where there's just a constant ascend up. And even when I'm not aware of what's being purchased, she puts all the boxes for me to recycle by my desk. And so I see the remnants of what is ordered on a day-to-day basis. And when I ask what it is, I get told the same thing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't ever ask, but
it's probably for the best.
Man, does a package show up every day? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much every day.
One.
There's always something out there.
Yeah. And when it's not coming to my house, she orders it to her friends in Oregon to save on tax. And so I'll get like alerts on my phone that a package has been delivered. And I'm like, oh, that's just over there. Then she has to go over there and pick up the haul. It's like a once weekly venture over there to bring back the Santa's booty.
My wife buys so much from Amazon that when I buy something from Amazon, she just automatically opens it thinking it's hers. She's opened presents for herself in there plenty of times. I'm like, you got to look at the label there.
Look at the name.
That's on you, Buck. When you order something, you have to give instructions. You're like, hey, just FYI, I did order
I have
something.
learned to give the heads up that something's coming. Please make sure you check the mailing address.
She doesn't open mine. My wife doesn't open mine.
Oh, yeah. Everything gets opened. I haven't opened a package in years. It's just...
Why can't they do their own recycle?
I don't know. Because it's right
Why is
by...
that such a man task?
I don't know, but it definitely falls upon me. Same thing with the trash. She takes the trash bag and then just leaves it at the desk. And is like, hey, that's you.
Yep. Why?
I don't know. It's the one thing I'm probably capable of doing, so I don't complain.
I also don't mind it. So if I'm like, if that's something that gets lumped into my responsibilities, it's that easy, sure.
That's true. It is very easy and oddly satisfying.
Taking out the trash?
Yeah, to get the trash and the recycle all cleaned up and put new bags in there. Oh. It's kind of nice. It's like, look at that.
I can see that. You're
I'm
like
cleaning.
Look at you.
I've cleaned everything.
I am man. It's like when you first created fire. Like, yes, I've taken out the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah, little victories.
All right, let's get our poll question in next on The Fan.
Yeah.
Primetime. It's Tuesday. The sun is shining. Football's over. The NBA is about to go on break. College basketball is not quite here. I mean, it's here, but...
Pitchers, catchers this week, right?
Pitchers and catchers. Yes.
We got that.
We got Tiger Woods' new brand.
Yeah. Sunday now in 2 words for some...
Yeah, what is that about?
I don't know. I thought maybe there was some sort of significance behind it, but they've just...
There has to be,
his
right?
brand is Sunday Red, but it's...
But it's sun space, day space, red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't know, Tiger Woods is not with Nike anymore, so
He's with TaylorMade.
TaylorMade.
He's made his own brand with TaylorMade, and he released it today. Well, it's out in, I think, May.
Yeah.
But he teased it out today with a little social media post because that's what you have to do these days.
Sure.
And it's Sunday Red.
Yeah.
And it's got a really stupid tiger logo.
Yeah, looks like a Tigger.
It looks
kind of thing.
I don't know.
I saw some of they did like 5 or 6 of the stuff that they're gonna sell, and I don't know, it looks like a red polo. Hey, but you know what? That red polo is gonna be $125.
Did you ever play golf anywhere with anybody who wore the Tiger Woods like red black combo? Like
no, it's a pretty the Sunday Red.
Yeah,
like,
I mean you can't.
If you show up wearing a Tiger Woods red polo and black slacks,
right?
Boy, I'll tell you what, you better be you better be the best or the worst golfer I've ever seen. Because it's kind of funny if you go out and you're shooting like 130, then I get it. It's like haha, it's kind of ironic.
Yeah.
Or you better just be the balls. You better be out there just sniping pins.
They always said that. You know that Tiger, the no collared red shirt.
Yeah, the collarless shirt.
Yeah, that they always said that sold really well.
I see a lot of bros wearing that.
You do?
Yeah.
See, I never see anybody wearing that.
When you go to like my buddy belongs to a country club, and so I'll go down there and play sometimes, and there's a lot of the high tea bros. They love skin tight.
Yeah.
Got to have that sucker as tight as can be. Yeah. And they're a big fan of the collarless shirt.
All right.
But that's I'm an old man with a gray beard. I don't pull that one off. But I have seen some of the young Sparkies.
I got to tell you, big golf fan here. You guys know that.
Yeah.
Big Nike guy, but I was never a big Tiger Woods brand guy. Like I don't think that stuff's that great.
I like his shoes. My favorite pair of golf shoes I've ever owned are Tiger Woods shoes. I wear a lot of the Jordan stuff now. Jordan's big into golf, and I think his stuff is great.
Yeah, he's got good golf shoes now.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of that.
You can get them on Temu.com.
Except it comes with like
at a discount.
The logo is slightly off. He's got like 4 arms on there.
All right, poll question, AAA Heating and Cooling Family Business, helping families for over 60 years, AAAIAQ.com. It is on X at 1080 The Fan. We asked you yesterday, what cost the Niners the Super Bowl? 58% of you said special teams. That would be a blocked PAT.
And then the muffed punt.
And a muffed punt.
Yeah.
25% of you said Patrick Mahomes. 9% said Taylor Swift, and 8% said Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, Shanahan's not taking nearly as much heat as I thought he was.
He's not.
He was going to be.
And I think it's just because, like you said, Chiefs won it. Mahomes is great.
Did you see some of the Niner linemen sniping at each other, though?
No.
Buck sent that to me.
What happened?
Well, there was obviously people are giving the Niners crap about the final one in OT where that 3rd and 4 where they didn't get it, where Chris Jones came untouched.
The one we talked about a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
So some fan came out and said, you know, if Colton McKivitz just does his job there. And then John Feliciano, another Niners lineman, says it wasn't his missed assignment, and you wouldn't have to do a chop block there if the person who was supposed to block him blocked him.
Yeah.
Another lineman, Spencer Burford, hops in and goes, wow, I opened up this app to find out people saying these things. Like, these are all 3 linemen talking about each other on Twitter, bitching about whose responsibility it was.
The Niner linemen throwing each other under the bus like, it ain't my fault.
And then
blame that guy.
Brandon Ayuk's best friend and girlfriend both go on Instagram to basically say, we're out of here, we're done with San Francisco. And then he goes to clean out his locker, and they're asking him, hey, there was a lot of stuff on social media about you not wanting to be here. And he's like, do you have anything you want to say? And he's like, no. And they're like, well, where do you want to be? He's like, somewhere where I can be a champion.
What?
And that's it.
God.
Like they're in a full-on meltdown.
It's not good.
Well, who's to blame? Surely someone's to blame. Chris Jones wasn't even touched. So it's somebody's fault.
Again,
whose fault is it?
To me, it looked like the right tackle absolutely butchered it. But, you know, again, not knowing what the protection schemes were, first off, whoever called the protection scheme is stupid. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. You don't think on 3rd and 4 down there at the 11 that Spags is bringing the heat, and you run this condensed BS formation where it's hard to tell who's coming, and then you pull the center and you have some sort of weird scheme on the right hand side. I mean, so first of all, it was the play design, but the right guard and tackle, I don't know what they were doing. One of them butchered it.
Well, were those guys the two guys?
Two of them, yes.
Fighting with each other?
Yes.
Okay,
and
so
then
they're both pointing the finger at the other?
Yeah, and then there was a third guy that was chiming in with that too, and then Ayuk's doing his whole thing, and it's not pretty.
A little bit of a mess.
Yeah, a little bit of a mess. And they've got him for another year, so I don't...
That's what happens when you lose.
Well, and this is kind of like why they say a lot of times that when you lose the Super Bowl, like, it can kind of fall apart on you.
Dude, I was thinking about that today because I was reading about Shanahan, and he's like, he said, we're going to be back better than ever next year. And Kittle said the same thing. And I was sitting there thinking about that going, God, that's got to be hard. These guys pour their heart and souls into this, and it's such a long journey. Every season is its own long ass journey with all kinds of ups and downs. And you get all the way there and lose again like that. Yep. And then, obviously time heals all wounds and you take some time off or whatever and you get back up on the horse. But that's got to be so...
Dudes are going through it, though, and they're in their feelings, and they're firing all this stuff off.
Well, now they are, but I'm talking about September, August, or whenever they report to camp, July, August.
July.
They got to start. Like, it's go time again, and it's like this such a long process that is probably very hard to do.
That's the worst part about it is, like you said, there's just...
It's one thing if you're super motivated, like let's say the Ravens, they may come in all fired up.
Sure.
Like, hey, we got something to prove, and this is not going to happen to us again. The demoralized Niners, that one would be harder, I would think.
Well, because
you know what it takes, and it's just a long...
and it's just not... I just don't think the average person has a real appreciation for what goes through what goes into a season. From the off season to every one of these guys is playing with... This guy's got a torn rotator cuff. This guy's knee is shredded and needs off-season surgery. This guy's playing with a bad back, and you just go through this just brutal dog days of the season, and you finally get there and you come up 1 or 2 plays short. Yeah. You start looking like, you ever have that where you just have a rotten day and you go home and you're just looking and someone's going to get their head bit off? That's what's happening here between Ayuk and between offensive linemen. And look, someone... To say that people are immune to this or should be, trust me, there are people when they watch that film, they're going to look at the right guard, or they're going to look at Buford, they're going to look at at McKivitz, the tackle, and be like, dude, your dumbass cost me a Super Bowl. I put it all on the line out there, and you, especially if it really was a blown assignment, and I think it was, you can pretend all you want that, we're all great teammates. There's going to be hard feelings in that locker room. Unfortunately for the Niners, it's spilling out on Twitter, which is why maybe you just take a couple days off social media, guys.
Yeah, I don't worry about that as much as I worry about come fall,
Yeah.
You said, there's a reason that teams that lose the Super Bowl come back the next year and struggle.
It's just flat.
I mean, the Niners the last time won 6 games.
Yeah.
The next year.
The Eagles fell apart.
And they had a lot of injuries.
Yeah. You're right, because when you win, you're like, man, we're going to do it again, and we got the motivation. But when you lose, it can be demoralizing, and that S can stick with you for a long time. I think
it's just how you lose, right?
Yeah.
I think the Bills are probably pretty motivated.
I would think
the Ravens are probably pretty motivated. I think the 2 hardest it would be for Kansas City. I mean, just won 2 in a row.
Yep.
How do you? I mean, I don't know that.
Saban talks about
that's
this.
That's a whole nother hard.
Yeah, Saban talks about it all the time that he thinks the hardest thing to do is when you get on top and is to stay there.
Well, Andy Reid said that he thanked the Raiders for beating their ass. Remember that? They had won like 5 or 6 in a row, and the Raiders beat him.
Yeah.
And he got in the locker room and he said, man, you cannot take anything for granted. This could spiral easily. They just kicked our ass. Wake up. Yep. And he said that woke him up.
Did.
So, it's just I don't know. It just would be hard. You're Kyle Shanahan. She's like, oh my God, here we go again.
Yep.
and we got to ramp it up. Try this again.
Well, and you got to get some.
It might kill him if they get to another Super Bowl and he loses again. He might be done.
Well, I guarantee he woke up today and heard his O-line and one of his star receivers all chirping, and I guarantee he just put his head down and went, F.
I'm going fishing. I'll see you guys in July.
I'll deal with this tomorrow.
All right, we'll get to today's poll question coming up next. It pertains to sports dynasties. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, the Blazers are back on the hardwood tonight. They host the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are on the tail end of a back-to-back. T-Wolves blew out the Clippers last night. Portland trying to stop a 4-game skid. They are 8-point home dogs tonight. Tip-off at 7 over on Root TV. On the gridiron, 7 Oregon Ducks have been invited to the 2024 NFL Combine. It includes Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Bucky Irving, Jackson Powers-Johnson, Brandon Dorlus, Kyrie Jackson, and Evan Williams. 4 Oregon State Beavers also invited to Indy. Anthony Gould, Taliesin Fuaga, Ryan Cooper Jr., and Keaton Oladapo should all be on hand. The Combine begins on February 26th. And in baseball, the Giants and outfielder Jorge Soler reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal worth $42 million to bring the power hitter to the Bay Area. Soler hit 36 home runs with the Marlins last season. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino is the place to watch and wager on pro and college games every week. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon.
to you by AAA Heating and Cooling. Today we're asking you, which of the most recent sports dynasties did or do you dislike the most? Patriots, San Francisco Giants,
Bingo.
Chiefs, or Warriors?
Giants.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
That's the dirt factor, isn't it?
It's the dirt factor. It's solely based on dirt.
Because he's obnoxious?
His douchiness as a Giants fan, and to some extent Buckley, although Buck's like a quarter of what dirt is. I find San Francisco Giant fan, and by the way, this is for no other reason. I liked the Giants growing up. I love Will Clark. Will Clark might be my favorite baseball player, non-Met, of all time. It's a wonderful ballpark. I like the city. I've been down there many times. But their level of obnoxiousness, starting with dirt, turned me against that team more so than just about anything else.
Right.
As a fan of both the Giants and the Warriors, I think Warriors fans are more obnoxious than Giants fans.
I was going to say, I think Warriors clearly more, well, I mean, it's all in the eye of the beholder, but I would think the Warriors are far more disliked than the Giants. And then I think the Patriots might win this. I don't know. I think it's going to come down to the Patriots and Warriors.
Boston sports fan can be pretty obnoxious.
It's funny because Boston sports fan is the worst, and the Patriots very much smug, and Bill was a giant a-hole. I never hated the Patriots.
Really?
No, I don't know why. They don't, and it's the same thing.
Do they bother you more than the Chiefs or less than the Chiefs?
I'd say they bother me probably a little bit less, but it's about the same. Like, I don't mind the Chiefs. Well,
look at you.
I think I'm one of the few people that doesn't mind other dynasties. I thought the Bulls were cool in the 90s.
I don't mind excellence.
Yeah.
And so when you're truly great, and clearly the Patriots were, obviously Golden State was, and Kansas City, I have a hard time hating you just because you're good. I can get annoyed. I can get annoyed at the coverage, and enough's enough. I've seen you like Kelsey this year a little bit. I was a bit over the top. I didn't mind the Taylor Swift stuff, but him in general, he's a lot to handle, but he's not a bad guy. He's not a doucher. Draymond's kind of an unlikable, idiot, but for the most part, Steve Kerr and Klay Thompson and Steph and some of the role guys, David West and Sean Livingston, some of the guys they've had come through there, there's nothing for me to hate. You would think I would hate New England, but again, there was something about kind of that FU, we're New England and we'll do what we want and stop us. I didn't mind it.
All right, well, vote and vote hard. I don't know why we seem to dislike dynasties. I guess we just get bored, right? We want fresh blood. We want variety.
Well, we hate success. We want.
Do we?
I think when you see the same team over and over again, one, it's not your team, and so you're like, well, quit bogarting it, and then we get the coverage of you, and you got to admit, like, sometimes when you're watching a football game, the Patrick Mahomes stuff, I mean, it's like drinking from a fire hose. Tony Romo, I think, touches himself at night thinking about Pat Mahomes, and so I think that, can be a much for people because look, he's great, but so is Josh Allen and so is Lamar Jackson, a lot of quarterbacks, but it's like, oh my God, no one has ever, scrambled like Patrick Mahomes. And then you watch the play and you're like, well, it wasn't that great. It's a nice play, but he's not out there just like blowing you away every single play, but the announcers kind of make it that way. Coach K was like that for me at Duke a little bit. They'd be like, no one has ever, Coach K is changing the game forever and no one has done it like Coach K. And it's just so over the top. It can be annoying.
Okay, so coverage,
I think,
part of it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I was never I don't mind Tiger, but the coverage of Tiger was nauseating to me. He'd be 12 shots back, and then he'd have a round where he'd have a decent, and he'd be like 9 shots back, and they'd be like, "There's a Tiger on the prowl."
That was truth. Well, I saw a really funny article today I came across on the internet?
Interwebs. You worked the Google machine.
It was from 2016, and it was predicting the next great sports dynasties.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a couple of good ones on there that you could totally see where they were thinking, like the Nationals with Bryce Harper and Strasburg and Scherzer.
Yeah.
They had the Cubs with Bryant and Rizzo and those bros. They also had the Vikings with Adrian Peterson, Teddy Bridgewater, and Mike Zimmer.
Who? Yeah.
Was that a dynasty?
No, I don't think that was.
You don't think it's...
No, Teddy Two Gloves never quite got there.
One of them was Bengals. They somehow were trying to make it out that Andy Dalton was the franchise guy. And
really?
Yeah.
The Red Rifle?
Like the Bengals finally got their guy, and they were loading up at skill positions and watch out. The T-Wolves are on there with Wiggins and Cat.
Sure. I remember
Rubio.
I remember that. I remember people thinking that they were the up and coming big thing.
But it's just funny that, you know, you can't really predict this stuff. Like, nobody saw the Chiefs coming as a dynasty.
No.
You know, I mean,
No.
we knew Mahomes was good and it's a good pairing with Andy Reid, but I mean, who the hell had this 5 years ago?
Well, and we talked about it too and I'm not saying that Kansas City's not lucky. I mean, my God, Kansas City's fantastic. But again, we go back to, and you can do this with all of Tom Brady's Super Bowls, right? Why one ball? Kansas City fumbled, 5 times in that game, and they recovered all but one, right? Like the ball hits the guy's ankle and McLeod doesn't recover it. We talk about all the plays that could have gone the other way. Garoppolo's overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders in the first one. Who was it? Was it D Ford that jumped off sides? Or maybe Kansas City has another one.
That's right. That was D Ford.
So you can make the argument like Kansas City could have 4 or Kansas City could have 1. You know, and it's the same thing with Brady, like kicks. How many, I think Tom Brady's first 3 Super Bowls all came down to field goals? If Scott Norwood's out there kicking for him, then we're not talking about Brady the way we are.
That's kind of why we like the NFL, though, right?
Yeah.
Is that it really is the margin is so thin.
Yes.
And it makes it exciting.
And that's why dynasties are, especially in this sport, why they're so effing hard. And then when you see them, whether it's New England or whether it's Kansas City, it's been 20 years since someone even went back to back. That's how hard it is in this league. Yeah. And so when you do see someone that for whatever reason, skill, luck, all those things combined, and they manage to win 3 and 5 and back to back, you realize how truly special it is. Because it doesn't happen in this league. It's not the league with the salary cap and the turnover. It's not meant to put together dynasties. It's just not.
The NBA is. And we've only seen, well, I guess before the Warriors, you'd have to go back to the Spurs.
Mm-hmm. Then you had the Lakers and, the NBA.
Certainly have had their share.
The NBA has way more
but
dynasties than
now. Oh, I know, but not now.
No.
That's what's weird about it. It's like the NFL should be the most random.
Yeah.
And yet we've had back-to-back dynasties.
It's kind of crazy. One handed it off to the other.
And then baseball, I don't know what to make of baseball because it's just so. The Giants. Somebody said they don't think of the Giants as a dynasty. They won 3 in 5 years.
Yeah, how is that not?
Or 3 and 6. I
think that's kind of the minimum requisite for dynasties. 3 and 5.
It was it odd years or even years?
Even
whatever.
years.
Even
years.
3 and 6, 12, 14.
Yeah.
But baseball is probably tougher to do it too because it's just there's a lot of randomness when you get into the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, 162 games, but then 5 and 7 game series. Yeah, weird ass happens.
So then I was thinking, well, what franchises are queued up for a dynasty? I'm like, there's no way to predict that. You can't see these coming. That's the beauty of it.
No,
but you've got some teams that are scaring some people, like the Orioles in baseball.
I would say the Braves.
The Braves look like it, but they didn't.
No, but
they've won 1.
But they have signed their team, and it's young and it's affordable, and they're going to be together for a long time, and they've got money to go out and spend. So
what about the Dodgers though? Now, did you see what the Dodgers are absolutely loaded.
Yep.
This year,
absolutely. So
the Thunder.
Yes. You could make
could be queuing up something.
Some people think
they're poised for it, but with any of these, it feels like you got to be a little bit closer to start to.
Well,
it's the best young team in the NBA.
You can't predict them because if you would look at, there's so many good teams. I think it just comes down to there's championship DNA that you can't really put your finger on.
No,
and I just sort of feel like when you see it, you should trust it. Like the Patriots showed it very early, and it's like, oh, okay, don't mess with that. Chiefs are doing the same thing right now.
Yep.
But then when you see a franchise that should be winning a lot,
Dodgers,
but don't trust that too.
That's LA for me. They've got one, but
they did get the one.
Again, when it comes to
the Astros have been better than the Dodgers.
Exactly. When it comes to the postseason, I always look at the Dodgers roster and all that money they spend, and I say the same thing. Whereas you said with the Astros, I'm like, God, I hate them because you just feel like. I don't know. I feel a lot different about the Houston organization than I do the Dodgers.
Yeah, Milwaukee. It's interesting with Giannis.
Yeah.
Are the Nuggets poised with Jokic for another couple of years?
Certainly poised. Yes.
Except their other star just can't stay healthy. I feel like he's.
Yeah. But it seems like they may cruise in the West. They don't have a ton of resistance against them.
They should. They have the best player in the NBA and one of the best playoff players in the NBA. And last year they bitch slapped everybody, but.
It'll probably be like the Reds or something.
Well, you mentioned the Orioles.
Out of nowhere.
They got new management now, and they spend a little money.
They got Burns.
Yeah,
Burns.
Yeah, they went out and got Burns right after they sold the team. They're
Adley, we trust.
Yeah, which would be cool. I'm on board.
All right, that's your poll question. It's brought to you by AAA Heating and Cooling, and it is there for you on X at 1080 The Fan. We'll update the results tomorrow. Was the Super Bowl the most watched television event of all time? Next on The Fan.
It's The Fan.
Well, last night on our show, right around 6:30, Andrew Nimick broke some fake news.
Really?
Yeah, you remember when he told us that the preliminary numbers were in and the ratings for the Super Bowl is like 115 million average viewers?
Yes.
That's incorrect, Jason.
Wrong.
Fake news.
So is it or is it not the most watched TV program of all time?
That is what is up for debate.
Because I'm looking at a headline right here in the Oregonian that says Super Bowl 58 was the most watched telecast in history.
Okay, this is what drives me nuts about news operations.
Fake news. Bunch of liberal BS, Frank.
Well, there will be one source that will report that.
Yeah.
And it could technically be true.
And I think that's what's happening here is this.
And then everybody else picks it up and runs with it. The reality is, it sounds like that's not true.
It is when you go by the language. It is the most watched program ever. The moon landing was not a program.
Okay, gotcha.
The moon landing was coverage across every network.
Okay, so see, to me that's a little misleading, but okay. If you want to fit it into that box, I think that's fine.
I did a deep dive yesterday into this because
hold on. Let me give you the number. The actual number is that came out today is 123.4 million.
Yes.
Which beats last year's Super Bowl of 115 million, and it is the most watched
program because the previous one was actually the Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl,
which was how much?
I'd have to look it up. I want to say like 119 or something.
Okay,
but
this beat that.
This beat it. So this, in a technical, I think in a non-technical sense, this is the most watched program of all time.
Single program. But it's not the most watched event.
No,
ever.
It sounds like there are two events that both dwarf this. And it really wasn't close. And by the way, they both did it when there was 130 million less people in the country. So if you want to even go with a percentage, because this happened right around the same time when there was just over 200 million people in the country, as opposed to now we have 330 and some change or whatever. But they say the Apollo moon landing and the night coverage when President Kennedy was assassinated, both of those got north of 150 million people.
Okay, so it is technically true.
Yes.
That it's the most watched program.
Yes.
But it's not the most watched event.
No. So
that would be Apollo 11 and
the Kennedy stuff is weird because again they're saying that was literally every single network did live, like whatever you were doing you stopped, and anyone that tuned into the TV that night, which was 85% of the country, that's what was being shown, but it wasn't one broadcast. You can make the argument that the Apollo landing is closer to the Super Bowl because that wasn't coverage, it was just here's the moon landing. Whereas the Kennedy one, or maybe even like after 9/11, like everyone tuned in, like on 9/11, that's all anyone was doing. But again, that was over every cable network. And so you can't really count it. This was one thing that everyone was watching, Super Bowl number one.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have it.
Someone's asking about MASH. We looked at this yesterday. MASH is the only non-Super Bowl program in the top 25. I think MASH came in at like number 13 and it got 100 and some change, and that'll never be topped by a scripted show.
And if you're wondering, the 123.4 million viewers is across all CBS platforms.
So Peacock, not Peacock, Paramount Plus is where I watched it.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, all that. So
all that.
That's a butt ton of people is what that is.
10 million people watched in Canada. They said it becomes one of the 5 highest watched English language programs in the history of Canada.
Yeah.
And then Australia, the viewers in Australia was up 138%, 2.7 million.
Yikes.
Which is weird. I don't know why, but
well, it's just growing. And I think they did say the Taylor Swift effect actually played a role in more people.
She brought in some eyeballs.
She brought in some eyeballs. If you really want to be blown away, go
some
look
rods and cones.
Yeah, go look up World Cup numbers worldwide.
We've already done this.
Yeah, I'm just saying. If
Tour de France, World Cup, and then the cricket championships.
Yeah,
they're in the billions.
Yeah,
we got nothing. You think football's popular?
No.
Get out of here.
Yeah. Which is why the NFL desperately wants to move this game internationally.
And they I don't know that they desperately want to do this, but when we come back, I'll throw this out. There was an article about this last week that this is probably coming. Again, I don't know how desperate they are to do it because they've got a good thing going, but what if the Super Bowl goes pay-per-view?
It's a ballsy move. It's a ballsy move because up until now, the NFL has been able to do whatever they want and not turn people away.
So we'll get to that.
That's
and
risky.
Big night at the Moda Center, I think. What? It is. The best team in the league's coming in.
I'm going to that lake.
Do you know who's starting for the Blazers?
No. I can't keep track.
Well, there's
They're in, they're out.
Again, I just wanted to tell you that I'm just glad that they're getting the medical care that they deserve.
That's coming up next on The Fan.
Shut up.
I will not shut up.
Sorry,
It's Isaac and Suk.
Sorry, Chip.
What's going on? That wasn't Chip. That's Jim Calhoun. Remember that?
I do remember Calhoun. That was when the guy was talking to him about asking him why Calhoun made so much money.
Not a dime. Not a dime back.
Shut up.
Can you guys shut up?
Oh, the good old days.
Hey, will you shut up?
Shut up.
Chip gave $8.5 million back.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want that.
He didn't care.
I'm going to Ohio State.
All right. So I was asking the question before we get to the big night at the Moda Center tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And we try to figure out who the hell's playing for the Blazers.
Yeah, it's always up in the air. Guessing some Rip City remix faces tonight.
What if the Super Bowl went pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Blazers.
This was written about last week, and Roger Goodell had to shoot it down. Somebody asked him about it, and Goodell was like, "Oh no, we're very happy with our broadcast partners. We love CBS, and this is wonderful. And why would we change a thing?" Well, of course he has to say that, but why they would change a thing is that the cable people are cutting the cord. Cable is going away, and not only that, but they like money.
Yeah.
Last I checked.
The question is, can you get more money in pay-per-view? Or, I mean, it's a bold risk. And how much do you charge for it? And
well, those are all the $1 million questions.
I mean,
or perhaps $1 billion questions.
I mean, I'll put it out there. I mean, we had one guy on the Vancouver Forward text line that says, dude, if that happens, I'm not paying a dime unless my team's in it. And I think there's a lot of people that if you put that, I mean, obviously so many people go to Super Bowl parties and so you chip in for that, but the Super Bowl gets 120 million people, not because it's a football game, because it's a spectacle. It's an event. Now, playoff games, they're getting 40, 50 million people, and those are fans. But you're more than doubling that. And I think if you put cost barrier behind that, I don't know what you make off of that versus the downside of viewers, but I would have to believe that there is a significant drop when you put something on pay-per-view.
Well, they did have the one game and everybody went kicking and screaming to Peacock this year. It was streaming.
And then like 30 million people watched it.
Yeah, about 25 million.
And now we're going to get another one because they announced there will be an Amazon one next year as well.
But again, there's a big difference between 25 and 50.
Oh, big time.
And 50 to 120.
But it's like they're putting their toe in the water, though, and they're seeing how much they can get away with almost.
They're definitely doing it. And there is a difference, obviously, in 25 and 125. At the same time, there's a huge difference between
free and
that game and the Super Bowl. I mean, it's like you said, it's a spectacle, and people watch it together. They watch it at parties. Is it something that a household pays $100 and then a bunch of people come over and they chip in? Like, I don't know how they would structure it, but there's an article that had John Skipper, who is the old ESPN head cheese. Mm-hmm. And he is quoted in here. It says, a pay-per-view Super Bowl, John Skipper, the former ESPN boss, now the co-founder and CEO of Meadowlark Media, raised the possibility in an interview almost as a casual thought bubble, but he has since grown more bullish. He said, quote, "The more I think it through, the more I think it actually will happen sooner than I expected because it makes great financial sense. As sports rights go up, you're going to see the people who buy sports rights look for other ways to rationalize the acquisition. They're going to have to do that by figuring out smart ways to help their overall business, including the transition to streaming."
So when you're talking like CBS and these people that are pumping in, billions of dollars a year to own the rights to the NFL, so is that then the NFL isn't making money off that? CBS is like, look, okay, we're paying you $3 billion, but just so you know, as part of this, we're putting this on pay-per-view. And then when it goes on pay-per-view, does CBS still have the balls to charge $12 million for a 30-second spot? So we're paying pay-per-view and we have to sit through all the commercials and the rest of that crap too?
Right. And they're saying that the current deal runs through like 2033. So anything that they did before that, they would have to talk it out, and the league would have to get behind that. But the next deal, that certainly could be negotiated in there.
Well, I mean, certainly the entertainment model has changed so much even over the last 5 years, and we know where it's heading. And like you said, cable TV is dying, but now we're reintroducing cable as streaming bundles. I would never say never to anything. I wonder if this is a bridge too far. But if there's enough money in it, they'll sacrifice viewers for money. But you ain't getting 120 million people that are tuning into a pay-per-view event.
I don't think you would get 120 million to pay, but I think you would still get the same eyeballs. Like people watch that game. It's a huge deal, and they know it. But the question is how do you, everybody watches it at parties or bars or like, it's a very strange thing. It's not just individual households, like if it were that simple, the question then becomes, well, you're sitting at home ready to watch the Super Bowl. How much are you paying to get it up on your screen?
I just know that whenever in the past that things have gone exclusively to pay-per-view, it's really hurt. It's hurt the audience for boxing. It's hurt the audience for, remember like when the Olympics tried that with the triple cast back in the day. I don't know. That's just, if someone could do it, the NFL,
yeah, they could. Why does the NBA, why does MMA and boxing stay pay-per-view?
It's the only way they can get the purses big enough, because there's just not enough interest out there. They're niche sports. So when you're talking about guys, that are wanting to make, in the case of boxing, more so than MMA, but you're talking about making just huge money. I mean, Floyd at his peak was making, $100 million. And even now some of the bigger fighters, the Canelos of the world, they're making 45, 50 million a fight. The only way that you can raise that kind of dough is through pay-per-view, because there's just not a big enough audience. You don't have anyone willing to pay media rights for that. I mean, the NFL and NBA get away with that because people pay billions for their media rights, but UFC has an event, a big pay-per-view every, 6 weeks or so. Boxing maybe have 3 or 4 big ones a year that anyone really cares about. And so the only way to really make that model work is to tap into the diehard fans. If you sell 1 million pay-per-view buys, man, you're killing it. Think about 1 million people that pay for your fight, and you charge $70, a pop. Now you're talking money, but there's just no one that so far has ponied up anywhere near the amount of money it would take to get it off pay-per-view. So that's why the fight game has existed there for years and years. But it's also, you talk to everyone that says it's also why those sports have struggled, especially boxing, with mainstream popularity, because it's really hard to find their fights anywhere. Whereas at least UFC now does the UFC fight nights and the prelim stuff. They have a deal with ESPN now, where at least you can see that. And then when it's time to do the actual main event cards, then you have to go to pay-per-view, and illegal streaming is still a big deal for those guys because they get hit with it. Dana White has bitched about that. And look, I know I'm guilty of that. If it's a fight that I'm not absolutely dying to see and Stream East, and it's free as opposed to $70, and it's not a fight that I necessarily care if I have some glitches or is in the best HD, it's hard for me to want to pony up $70 to watch that.
I wonder if the Stream Easts of the world are in trouble when an entity like the NFL or other, when major pro sports start going pay-per-view and like trying to really make you pay for their content.
Yeah.
I wonder if that,
or
that changes,
or does it really make them more valuable? I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't paid for a UFC fight in a long time.
Right, but let's talk about NFL. If the NFL goes to a model similar to that,
I would be on Stream East.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
fast.
What happens to Stream East? That it's one thing for Stream East to exist when most everything is still on cable.
Yeah.
It's another when an entity like the NFL is really trying to get you to pay for their product individually. Do they start? I mean, I'm sure they get with the feds and
try to find
Stream
a way
East is in trouble.
Try to crack that down.
So I don't know what that looks like, but it's the future of television, sports television, is really, really murky.
Well, it was that the WWE and which is the parent company, like the UFC and WWE are under one brand. They just signed to go on Netflix, I believe, for buku bucks. So there's a lot of people that are wondering, do we get to a point where eventually? So
now Netflix is in charge of making sure people don't get it illegally.
Yeah.
Right.
So are we, and are we getting to a point where one of these days a good chunk of Major League Baseball or whatever is going to be on Amazon? It's the Larry Scott thing. Larry Scott was right. He just was 15 years too soon.
Well, the MLS is already on Apple, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's paid thing.
Paid subscription.
How much you got to pay for a season of MLS?
I don't know, because it's Apple, and then you have to do the add-on. But I don't think it's that much. I want to say it's like $100 and something bucks.
And then if I can I watch them on Stream East? Can I just? Or is that
I don't know, but Stream East has most things. Yeah. So I mean, most of what you want can be on there, but when you're watching it there's times where in the middle of a game for 15, 20 minutes, it's just gone.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, you cross your fingers and hope it comes back. So
it is definitely not the most reliable thing.
No, there's times it works perfectly. And then there's the times you're watching and you're like, holy crap. And you
just can't get it.
You just can't get it. Yeah.
Like,
can you mark that, by the way? So that's
it's a problem.
Like if it's the Super Bowl, dude, you got some balls with that many people. They're going to be streaming. You got some balls to say, I'm going to watch that on an illegal stream.
Well,
which is why I said, if it's an event that I really want to watch, then sometimes you're like, man, I'll pony up. It's like, but when it's, when you don't really care, that's the ones that I have a hard time plunking down $70 for a fight that I'm wishy-washy on.
Well, the NFL TV deal doesn't come up again for a while, so you don't have to worry about this right now.
Yeah.
But like John Skipper said, could be sooner than you think.
$15 a month, by the way, for the MLS pass. On top of
how many months?
On top. Or $99 for the season.
$100 I get every game?
Yeah, $100. $99 per season. And then you have to have...
That's pretty good.
You have to have the Apple TV. I don't know what that costs, but...
Okay, Super Bowl to pay-per-view. Could be sooner than you think. It is 4:16. Up next, a big night in downtown Portland.
Yeah.
Big night downtown Portland. We'll all be there tonight as the Blazers host the top team in the West.
I'm going to that lake.
My buddy's heading down there just now. I was just talking to him. He stopped by in the lobby.
See?
And I said, "Why are you going down to this one?" He goes, "Best team in the league." You're like, And he goes, "I heard it on I just heard it on the radio."
Well, it's not the best team in the league. It's the best team in the West.
In the West.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
What's his nuts? Anthony Edwards.
Good old what's his nuts.
Talk to me, Goose.
Yeah.
Any other players you can name off of that team?
Go Bear now. They got the
we
Twin
got
Towers
Go Bear.
going on.
Yeah, there we go.
Mr. COVID himself.
We're both feverishly Googling.
Well, remember when the Timberwolves went all in on Gobert and everyone made fun of him?
Did they get D'Angelo Russell back?
Well, they gave up like
Is he back there
800
now?
first-round picks. No, Russell's still with the Lakers, isn't
Oh,
he?
is he? Okay.
They got Mike Conley.
Ah,
Oh, really? Okay.
You're like, man.
I mean, I like him.
There you go. I think Anthony Edwards is dinged up too. I'm not certain if he's a full go.
Man, I love watching that guy dunk, though. I hope he gets to go tonight because he's maybe the most entertaining flyer to watch on the floor, I think.
Well, as for your Portland Trailblazers, it's hard to know who the hell's going to play.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're banged up again.
Yeah, well,
Why are they always so banged up?
Well, I think
Somebody check the court, the practice court.
I think I know why they're banged up.
Do they practice on turf?
I, for one, am very excited that, again, they're getting all the medical attention that they need right now. And I say at this point, don't be heroes. Look, no reason to be heroes. They went through that stretch where they were playing really well, and look what happened. A bunch of people got hurt. So let's not do that anymore.
So
Let's just
Brogdon's out.
coast this. Yeah, he's got elbow tendonitis. He's been out for a little
Sharp
bit.
is out.
Yes, he's probably out for the year.
Scoot is
Day-to-day.
questionable.
Simons is day-to-day.
Simon's going to play, I heard. That's what my sources are telling me.
We'll see about that.
And then Duop Reith, the most important Blazer,
Yes.
is also going to play, it sounds like. It's probable.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
It's a big tilt down there at Moda Center. It's all
it is a big tilt. And, I just checked the line. Blazers plus 7.5.
only 7.5,
Yeah,
huh?
that's it.
Is that an Anthony Edwards thing? That we don't know if he's going to go or
Tell me.
7.5.
You're the big NBA sharp over here.
I'll tell you what.
Play some bets on the Blazers.
Hashtag fade the Blazers. 7.5. Take some of that.
Yeah.
Take some of that action.
Every once in a while, though, they rise up.
I know. I don't
They're
like it.
kind of weird.
Makes you nervous.
I don't-
Every now and then they get a weird
Has
let's go
anybody-
out and do this thing.
Has anybody put a finger on what that is? Why, or is that just the weird ass NBA?
It's the weird ass NBA. And look, there's actually some talent.
I think they're trying to cut down on travel because people were bitching about back-to-backs and things like that.
What?
Huh?
Are you even listening to what we're saying?
What was that? I got confused. Travel? What is that? Huh?
At least I thought I was.
I don't think he
No,
was listening.
I got confused.
Anyway, I don't see the status of Anthony Edwards, so maybe that is.
I just saw that earlier that he was like on the he was day-to-day like yesterday with that little red designation by his name. So I don't know. But the Blazers have a couple guys like when Ayton wants to, Ayton can be a beast. When Grant wants to show up, he can drop 40 on you. Same thing with Simons. They've got some guys capable. It's just kind of a ragtag group that again has been littered with injuries, and they are playing better under Chauncey Billups. So every now and then, they'll shock you a little bit. They beat Milwaukee, when Dame came back.
And then they'll be up 23 on the worst team in the league and lose.
Yeah, they were up by 15, with 12 minutes to play against the Pistons. They managed to gack that one away. And let me just tell you what, that's a quality loss right there. For a while there, we were getting pretty nervous. And so that's big that they managed to pull that one out of the fire.
Well, if you guys missed tonight's big game, I know it's going to be hard to get in there for this one. They play again on Thursday.
Yeah. Vancouver Ford text line. Just lost to Detroit. You will see effort tonight. Be careful. Public fading them.
That's what I was talking about.
Who?
The fact that Timberwolves are in town two games in a row. I thought that was the travel thing. I thought that's what you guys were on.
Can I just say that's the whole problem with the NBA is that you have to lose to Detroit in order to see effort.
It certainly helps.
Get out of here with that.
When you get embarrassed by the worst team in the NBA and you blow that lead, yeah, you might get a little chutzpah in your step.
So he's saying Blazers plus 7.5.
Yeah, I'm not touching that.
No, I won't bet
I'm
on
going
that.
to quietly just
NBA's
fade
hard.
away.
Did you see Wemby last night?
Yeah, he had a triple-double in one of those categories being blocks.
29 minutes, 27 points, 14 reebs, 10 blocks, and 5 assists.
Yeah.
He was 5 dimes from a quadruple double.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
That's crazy, dude.
Meringue was talking about his stats, and if you look at like what Rudy Gobert did during his last run as Defensive Player of the Year, and Wemby's steals and blocks are already more, through this many games, and he's not even playing 40 minutes a night than what Gobert
And yet
had.
they suck.
Yeah, they're terrible. In fact,
I get that.
Outside of the Pistons, they're like the worst team in the league, and they're not playing Wemby. I mean, I think he's playing like 27 minutes a night. They're being real careful. And again, there's no reason for them to be good. It's the same thing with the Blazers. Like, we joke about the over-under, but why do you want to win games at this point?
I get that, but shouldn't they be better with a player like that? I mean, don't players like that typically buoy? I mean, I'm not saying they should be the tops in the West. I mean, they're awful. They've won.
They are atrocious. They beat the Blazers, though.
I don't really get that.
Well, I guess they split them, but in that second one, that was one of those weird, they played here 2 nights in a row.
Because in the NBA, you're just like, one guy, you have one great player and it changes everything.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Well, no, but it really is. A lot of times you get one of these, and this is how you end up being good, is you get a player, and like Oklahoma City did this. Remember, they did it the first time around. Remember, because like in like 3 drafts in a row, they got Durant, Westbrook, and like Harden. The key is to like get a generational player, suck for another year or two, and put together a couple. You get 2 or 3 of those guys, and then before you know it, oh my God, now you've got a young, talented core.
Curry played Draymond. That's how that.
All those titles that the Oklahoma City team won, though.
I still can't believe they got to 1 finals and couldn't get it done.
So, do you know how many people have put up a quadruple double in NBA history, or a quadruple double?
I can't imagine it's many. I don't know, 4 or 5. Well, there you go.
4 dudes.
It's got to all be bigs.
Nate Thurman, Alvin in 19. Well, they didn't keep assists. That wasn't even a stat until 1972.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry, blocks, not assists, but blocks. So since 72, you have Nate Thurman, Alvin Robertson, Hakeem Olajuwon did it twice in the same month.
Makes sense.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
And then David Robinson.
Oh, well, that's pretty good company to be in if Wemby gets one. I mean, he's having an historic rookie season. I mean, the dude's an absolute freak.
And they're saying Wilt did it a bunch, but
probably
they don't
count him.
It's not official.
Yeah. I think Wilt, pretty. If the answer to, or if you have a question in the NBA about who's done something more than anyone else, just answer Wilt. Chances are it's right. Dude's numbers are freaking insane. But yeah, Wemby's having an historic year. I mean, the team sucks, but I mean, he has been everything as advertised and then some. And they're being really cautious with him, and he hasn't been beat up. He hasn't been hurt. And look, as long as that guy stays healthy, that's the face of the league in 3 or 4 years. And I think he's just 20 years old. I think he's the same age as Scoot. And look at what that guy's doing. It's freaking ridiculous.
All right, well, guys, big one tonight. Blazers, T-Wolves. The hometown team getting some run here on the show.
There you go.
How about that?
Look at that.
Want to give them a little love.
That in-depth analysis.
And then you get Blazers T-Wolves again the next game because that's a weird NBA thing.
Thursday night, yeah. So it's a big week.
Sure. I don't think that's.
Why are you being such a jerk about this? It's a big game.
It is.
I'm going to that lake.
It is big.
This could be the step tonight.
Better not be the step to 29 wins.
That's what I'm saying
right now.
This is it tonight.
They
take a leap forward tonight with Duop Reith hitting 10 threes.
With this, we don't even know if he's playing.
He'll chuck 10 threes.
Probable.
Probable.
All right, in the news is coming up next. More snow coming.
Oh, for Pete's sakes.
And a bunch of balds are gathering. Are you interested?
No, it depends on what's happening. We going to rub our heads together? What are we doing?
I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
Here's Buck.
Now,
Thank you, America.
Yes, thank you, America. And Norway. Don't we have that one dude from Norway that listens?
No.
Or is that Denmark?
Well, those are the ham radio guys.
Yeah, we got some dude that like messages though from
but they
the
don't
Scandinavian
listen.
lands.
They hear like.
So we're not thanking him?
They hear us distantly. And they're like, wait a minute, that's the fan in Portland.
Well, I just don't appreciate you slighting
God, that station
my Scandinavian brothers. You're saying, what about Mexico? What about Canada? Huh?
We're big with the cartels.
Did you think about that? Yeah, the Sinaloa folk? I mean, geez, Rob.
It is February 13, 2024. It's time now for In the News. I'm your newsman. Hello, thank you. Thank you so much. It is World Radio Day.
Oh, well, there you go.
We are on the radio.
See, in the world, not just the United States.
Yeah. Isn't it funny, too, those ham radio guys are out there, like, with their rabbit ears, and all they need to do is go on the internet.
I know.
And you can hear any show you
Yeah,
want.
but they're ready for the apocalypse when the internet goes down.
There's also International Pancake Day.
I love a good pancake, but I never eat them.
I hate pancakes. I think they're stupid.
You hate pancakes? Mm-hmm. It's a bold statement.
Never eat them. Hate them. The only thing that makes them good would be gobs of syrup and butter, but I don't.
How do you hate a pancake?
I just think they're gross.
I get not liking a pancake necessarily as like your favorite, but hating?
It's probably a big day for the International Pancake House, don't you think? On International Pancake Day? Or maybe not.
Yeah, if you're going to get pancakes, don't get them at IHOP. You can go to like a real place and get pancakes that are done
like what?
properly.
Where's a real pancake house?
Go to any nasty little diner and they'll get you a pancake that's the size like a dinner plate. And then if you go to like a nice place like La Provence, they're going to do like just different syrups and there's fruit mixed all in there. And, it's some nice banana walnut pancake sort of thing they got going on. Delightful.
I'll take the fruit without the pancake.
You son of a bitch. What about French toast?
I'm okay with it. It's way better than a pancake. Major snow coming.
Here? Or are you talking about mountains?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yeah, I feel like you're fear-mongering again.
I was trying to get a reaction, and I didn't get one.
No.
I got a rather understated question from you.
It's very nice out there, and quite frankly, I know you. I think you're baiting me into poor weather.
They're saying 20%, perhaps in the valley, 20% chance.
Just a sprinkling, a dab, if you will.
A round of heavy snowfall is forecast to hit the Cascades and the Columbia River Gorge Wednesday and Thursday.
Hard to think that we're getting snow here Wednesday and Thursday when it's so nice today.
Expect tough travel over the passes. Potential for feet of new snow on Mount Hood.
Oh, there you go. Some fresh pow-pow.
For you bros that like to go shred.
Yeah, go up there and get some gnarly runs in.
Yeah, baby!
Snowfall is expected to pick up throughout the afternoon on Wednesday, continue all day Thursday, and we'll see break by Friday.
By the way, Vancouver Ford text line in saying that they believe that on International Pancake Day, you can get a free small stack at IHOP today.
Free?
Free.
They're giving away free pancakes?
Free pancakes.
Is there a line out the door?
I think pancakes cost like 79 cents in general, so, but people love free.
That's what I mean. Like anything free, people will line up.
That's true.
Like, oh my God.
I don't know. I drive by an IHOP every day on my way to the gym. I can't say that I've ever stopped into said IHOP, but there are times where I see people lined up to get into the IHOP. I can't say I noticed today, but I wasn't aware that it was International Pancake Day. Maybe the roving reporters out there can let us know.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm also here to inform you of a bunch of balds getting together. And I wonder if maybe you'd be interested in that.
Please do tell. What are we doing?
How you're bald.
Doing some sort of orgy thing? What are we, eyes wide shut, bird masks?
It could be an orgy. It is bald eagles gathering in the Willamette Valley.
Seems to be a little awkward.
Eagles don't form flocks, as you well know.
Yeah, they're isolated creatures.
But they can be found in convocations.
Ooh, good word.
That sometimes draw dozens of them to an area, and right now we have one of those areas.
Is it for humping bird purposes, or do we know why they're gathering?
This is one of the most amazing Oregon wildlife moments. It is atop 4-story tall cottonwood trees near Corvallis, where the eagle convocation is drawing up to 100 bald eagles in the treetops each evening.
That's badass.
Yes.
Again, I got to ask, what are the eagles doing?
Well, let's read on together, shall we?
Let's
A
take
convocation of eagle concubines?
I'm assuming that this involves eagle humping. Why else would a bunch of animals that normally like to be on their own all get together?
For the uprising to plot against us?
It's possible. Like the Highlander, there can only be one. Like they're either fighting to the death or they're in an eagle orgy. That's the only reason they would gather.
Well, apparently during the winter, a lot of sheep will die for various reasons, and then the carcasses are just left out in the fields, and the eagles like that.
Yeah.
Because they can go eat it.
Makes sense.
Well, I guess this year there's just a bunch of sheep out there, a bunch of dead sheep.
So they all get together in one tree. I still don't understand why they all gather in like one area. You would think that there's plenty of trees to spread out in.
It says the winter sheep population has grown because farmers have changed the type of grass that they grow for Oregon's grass seed market.
Yeah, well, of course. Who doesn't know that?
New grasses tolerate winter grazing and allow farmers to make more money. The increase in sheep brought the increase in eagles. It's an easily accessed food source, and eagles don't have to expend a lot of energy to eat.
So they're willing to tolerate each other for free meals.
So they're picking off the sheep.
Makes sense.
It's a feast.
I'm still guessing that eagle humping is going on. If you get 100 eagles together, you're telling me that like they're not, hey, what's up, baby? Like I got some free sheep meat over here. You want to, a little dine and,
Now, this is going to paint me as a real biological idiot, but do birds do it, or does the one of them just lay the egg and then the male fertilizes it afterwards?
I know falcons.
I don't actually know the answer to this.
I know falcons do it. They do. Yeah, they do it like in the dive. Like they fly up in the air.
Oh, yeah, they do the death spiral
They
thing,
do the
right?
death spiral. They do the death sex. So if falcons do that, I'm assuming that eagles get it on.
Probably. I've just never known.
Well, I don't think they have dongs.
Well, now I'm looking how they breed.
Don't you have to have a dong to?
Well, then how do the falcons do it?
No, chickens have a vent for everything. It's just like
Is that what they call that? A vent?
it actually has a more. There's a specific name for that vent on a chicken, but yes, it's a vent.
Well, anyway, you don't need. I don't know. It's kind of cool. You see a bunch of bald eagles, man. Bald eagles are cool.
Yeah. By the way, mating happens by pressing the cloaca together.
There it is. That's the vent, the cloaca.
The cloaca. It's also known as the cloacal kiss. The female leans forward while the male will land on her back, and then the female moves all of her tail feathers to one side, and then
exposing the old cloaca there.
Yeah, and he twists. So
With what?
he presses his against hers.
His what?
Oh, whatever that is. What was that?
His vent.
His vent.
I think I'm saying it right.
Yeah, they just you get a large venti and you rub vents together. So indeed. We asked, do eagles hump? The answer? Yes. Or in this case, spiral rub. I like that she moves the tail. You gotta get those damn tail feathers out of the way.
Get them out of there.
Slide those off to the side. And I know ducks have two.
Well, they have the corkscrew one too, right?
Well, the ducks have two vents because apparently ducks don't ask permission. The male duck just comes in and like does what he wants. So if the female wants to breed with that duck, then she lets him use the real one. And if she's not into what he's got going on, she uses the alternate one.
And I think he's got different equipment too. I think he has like a corkscrew duck wang thing going on. So,
I'm telling you, dude, the bird life, it's a whole thing.
Have NIL news.
Now there's a transition.
That's coming up next. And further proving stats don't tell the whole story. Does Portland really party? That coming up on In the News on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
Brandon, there's been some stuff on social media. Is there a certain message that you want to get out there as you kind of enter this offseason and there might be contract talks?
A certain message,
Is your hope to remain with the 49ers moving forward?
if that's the right move, yeah.
God.
What would that right move look like for you?
Being a champion.
Being a champion. That's Brandon Ayuk being a little pouty bitch. What's his problem?
So you have arguably your second best offensive player throwing a hissy fit. You have one offensive lineman throwing
for us. He could listen for like 15 years, and he's just waiting for us to talk about like bird vulvas.
Yeah, he's waiting for parrot sex, and he's right there.
And all of a sudden, he's just armed with. He's like, finally, I can finally text them.
Yeah.
With my knowledge. Or like we're talking about cat taints, and there's an expert.
Yeah.
There's somebody who knows a lot. You guys know a lot of stuff about bird sex.
Everyone has a lane that's very specific to
Yeah.
them, and when their chance to go into that lane pops up, they take it.
Those
It's
tentacles.
amazing.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
Vancouver Ford text line. We had a female parrot for many, many years. She was bonded to me, and she would occasionally back up to me and move her tail feathers out of the way.
Hey now.
That's uncomfortable. Like, that's weird.
She wanted it.
Your pet's coming on to you.
Well, they say that with like dolphins. Like, you got to be careful at those dolphin encounters. They tell you, like, don't rub the dolphin on its belly because the dolphin will, take that as a sign that,
there are videos out there on Twitter, dolphins just like at one of those experiences, like a SeaWorld type place, and they just hop up on the dock and just start going to town on somebody.
Yeah, you got to be careful, man. If you put out the wrong vibe with an animal, that animal's like, hey.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I think it's illegal.
Well, he came on to me.
I don't think that's the way.
I was just minding my own business on the dock.
I don't think that's the way that works. Yikes.
I was raped.
I've seen my octopus teacher. Gets uncomfortable.
Proposed Oregon House bill would amend state NIL laws to stop the NCAA from penalizing schools and athletes for NIL activity.
Yeah. Well, the Tennessee's in Virginia right now. They presented closing arguments today. Did you see the NCAA, the attorney that absolutely botched that?
No.
Yeah, they went up there, and the NCAA couldn't properly say the difference between a collegiate athlete negotiating an NIL to go to school, which is illegal, versus negotiating with a school's collective once he gets there, which is legal. Like, they couldn't differentiate between the two, and the judge called him out on it. It was pretty bad. And by the way, if that case goes through and Tennessee and Virginia win that, it basically says that the NCAA has no right to say anything about NIL, and then the floodgates officially just fly open.
Well, they're kind of open anyway.
Pretty much. But at
no
least
one cares.
The NCAA made an attempt to do something, and immediately 2 states were like, yeah, I'll see your ass in court.
Like Jim Harbaugh didn't care.
Yeah.
Rode that all the way to a title.
Pretty much.
Yeah, this bill is in the Oregon House. It would amend the state's law regarding college athlete name, image, and likeness. And what it does is prohibits the NCAA, conferences, or any other athletics governing body from taking adverse action against an athlete or school due to actual or alleged violations of the NCAA's rules related to NIL.
So basically what they're saying is they're preemptive. You do whatever the hell you want,
That's
and
right.
the NCAA can go get bent.
That's right. They're just saying those NCAA rules that they're talking about, they're telling you about, yeah, don't worry about it. We'll pass the law.
Gosh.
It's crazy.
I just love that we now have states involved in this, and they're all universally against the NCAA.
House Bill 4119, and it was read for the first time last week, and a public hearing was held today.
All right.
So we'll see how that goes.
It just seems like that's a weird one for here in Oregon. That seems more like a Bible Belt Southern sort of thing. I feel like that's an Alabama thing, not necessarily an Oregon thing, but
yeah, we have much bigger fish to fry here.
yes. Well, we got committees and hearings and, things of that nature.
The stats don't always tell the whole story. You know that.
Absolutely.
You're a sports guy, or so you claim to be. Apparently, Portland is a great place to party. It was 4th on the list of party cities.
Really?
Yeah.
4th?
Yeah.
Get the hell-
Behind New York, Vegas, New Orleans, and Miami. Sorry, 5th.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Well, to be fair, those are 4 great
The
cities.
first 4 are great. It just doesn't feel
Well, what's
like
5th? If those are clearly the top 4 party cities.
So
in the
yeah,
US.
you said New York, Vegas, New Orleans, and
Miami.
Well, Los Angeles.
LA for
LA.
sure.
You're telling me that we party harder than Los Angeles? You're telling me we party harder than Phoenix?
How about Chicago? Chicago parties
Chicago?
pretty damn
Ooh,
hard.
Chicago does. Chicago is.
Chicago throws down.
Yeah.
Dallas? We go harder
Dallas?
than Dallas?
Well, according to this.
We go harder than the Dirty South? We go harder than the ATL?
Oh, yeah, you got to take Atlanta, right?
Right? Look, I
Nashville?
had a good time down in Atlanta.
They throw down Nashville too?
Nashville throws down. Memphis throws down. Sneaky if you want to go down to Florida and have a good Tampa. I'm telling you, Tampa, you can find whatever you want down in Tampa. Ybor City is interesting. Like, where do we even? Like, what do we got? We got like this.
This is what I'm saying. Like, they're just looking at numbers. Like, they don't actually go to these cities and party. Because if you did, you'd be like, dude, Portland's not hot. It's just not.
Like, what?
They're looking at bars per 100,000 people, and we have a lot.
We do have a lot of bars.
Apparently, Portland ranks second behind Vegas in bars per capita. Did you know that?
No, but it makes sense.
I didn't know that.
They say that about strip. Like, we have a lot of strip clubs. We have a lot of bars.
And the average hotel price per night is not that high because we get a lot of crappy ass hotels apparently.
Sure.
So they added that in there.
But like I'm telling you, and I know things have gotten a little bit better, but dude, there's times like we leave a game or whatever, and like you have to go searching for a bar that's open past like 12:30.
Totally.
Like it's like 1 a.m, and you can't find.
You can't be a top 5 party city if that's the case.
Right.
We're shutting down. Like there's like you can go down like on Burnside, and they've got like 1 Euro stand, and there's a line around the corner because it's the only thing open at 12:45. That and Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah, anybody that's ever been through that in downtown Portland, that's obnoxious.
It's the most frustrating thing in the world. You're like, hey, where are we going? And then you just like, I don't know.
I guess we're going home.
Guess we're going home. We got to find some place that's open.
It just shouldn't be that way.
Like,
but yeah, they're basing this off of just number of bars, average hotel and drink prices, activities available. It's come on.
Well, if we're going out, like, are you just going down to like that little entertainment, like the Chinatown there, where you've got like that little strip that they shut down?
I'm not going down there.
No, but I'm saying, is that like?
That's probably the most vibrant for the youngs.
Right? Like for the youngs.
That's where all the clubs are.
Yeah, that's where you're heading, like that, compared to what?
Inner southeast down there is good. There's a lot of good bars, like I think better bars down there.
Yeah.
You know, and restaurants and stuff. But you know. And then you have Big Al's.
Well, yeah, head to Big Al's. Two convenient locations. But I mean, everyone else has like a big, like all these other cities, like San Diego has the gas lamp. Like you can just walk around there. Denver has Lodo. You can take their transit for a couple miles and end up wherever you want down there. I just don't think that we have a good like central, hey, what do you want to do tonight? Let's just go hang out XYZ down in the city.
Yeah, like I said, southeast, you go inner southeast, there's some good stuff. Like you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And you're going to eat a nice meal. But it's not, I don't know, Portland's a little bit more neighborhoody vibe, you know?
Yeah. We got cheap fentanyl. Don't have to worry about that.
I feel like you don't have to pay for fentanyl. I mean, like cheap.
I think it just comes.
Yeah,
it's like a BOGO. You buy
it's a bonus.
You buy the Coke and the heroin,
cost
and you
now.
get the fentanyl for free.
It's added.
It's like the cost of living tax that gets thrown in for restaurant people.
A lot of value there. Free Narcan too, and tents.
Masters Pete is in. You know, he's old. He says Palm Springs parties.
Is Palm Springs Throwdown?
He's down in Palm Springs. Yeah.
For the olds?
I think it's it used to be pretty sleepy. I think it's pretty fun now. Palm Springs.
I've only been down to Palm Springs once, and we didn't venture out too much into.
Well, look, if you're looking for Vegas, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
Go to Vegas, but Palm Springs is fun.
All right.
It's made a comeback.
I prefer Yakima, which is the Palm Springs of Washington.
Ooh, speaking of fentanyl,
they do say that. Like there's a sign when you drive through Yakima that says the Palm Springs of Washington. They try to put that.
Based on what?
I don't know. I just know when you're driving through Yakima, there is a sign that it's the Palm Springs of Washington. I don't know why that is. Couldn't tell you.
Are they sister cities?
I find Yakima to be one of the most depressing places I've ever driven through, but it's there.
Oh, we've talked about this before. I just forgot. The Palm Springs of Washington sign might not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Yakima, but the billboard that has come to define the region has some rather simple origins. The sign has stood for decades. The purpose of the sign, says its owner, Gary Lukart, was to bring people from the Seattle area to Yakima because this is the Palm Springs of Washington. And simply put, it's like the smaller town outside of the bigger town.
Okay.
That you go to get away.
Boy, I don't know where you're going to Yakima. There's a skating rink, I know that. My son goes there to ice skate. He's got that going for him. But other than that.
And he says it's sunnier there than Seattle.
Sure.
Which I think every place is sunnier than Seattle.
Probably.
So he's touting that.
So are people really flocking from Seattle? Like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Yakima.
I think it's the place to be.
It's a rough go.
Although I don't see it on this party.
We're hitting up Palm Springs of Washington.
All right. That's it. It's over. You get no more news until tomorrow, February 13, 2024. Coming up next, the hot, very hot 5 at 5, a banging night at the Moda Center. The Giants add some guy to their lineup, and we've got some college football news next on The Fan.
My 13-year-old acts like a puppy again.
All right, welcome back. Hope you're having a nice little Tuesday. It's your Sports Bros. Rop, that's me. Big suit right over there.
Right here, Vancouver for a text line. We're talking about Yakima. This guy says, I grew up in Yakima. Our claim to fame is when the Virgin Mary appeared on the back of a highway sign in 1996. Tens of thousands of people came to see it.
Is that right?
That's a big deal.
How does that happen?
And he says they have good tacos. Well, it's called the Miracle, Rob. The Virgin Mary appears on the back of a street sign, and then, you know.
Did you ever do that game as a kid where you go in the bathroom and Virgin Mary, like, would appear on the...
What? Like Candyman? You say her name 3 times?
Yeah, something like that. There was some bit.
You Beetlejuiced her into existence?
I thought that was a Bloody Mary thing. Was that a Virgin Mary
Bloody
thing?
Mary.
Yeah, Bloody Mary.
Yeah. Bloody Virgin.
I think the Virgin Mary or Jesus always appear like in a grilled cheese or like a Cheeto or something.
Did you ever do the Bloody Mary thing, Buckley?
I mean, I remember there was
that was the thing.
Every kid in elementary school, it's like if you turn on the lights and like spin around 3 times and say Bloody Mary, then something's going to appear on the mirror. But like, no, it's just dumb.
It doesn't happen, but the other kids say it does.
And they tell you it's going to happen, and then they like leave you in the bathroom, the lights off, and it's scary.
Yeah, like Kit Chapman. We were at Kit Chapman's house. He's like, dude, you got to do Bloody Mary. Go in there, shut the door.
You may never be seen again.
You turn around 3 times, and then you're looking at the mirror. Look in the mirror. Open your eyes. Look in the mirror. There'll be Bloody Mary.
I'm
telling you, it's there.
It's like Slender Man.
And it wasn't.
Bloody Mary's supposed to be like an Annabelle sort of thing.
Or she wasn't. I love that there's a bunch of Yakamaniacs that listen to our show. There's another guy who says, lived in Yak, gunshots and whatnot, gangs aplenty.
Well, there you go.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah. Again, my son goes there because they have an ice skating rink. And apparently, if you live in Ellensburg, Yakima's the balls. So they've got that. Like, that's where you go for excitement when you're in Ellensburg.
Now, somebody else texted in the Vancouver for text line. They said, if you guys think Portland doesn't party, you just aren't running in the party circles here.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
Well, I think...
But that's not that wasn't the point of the list,
exactly.
Right? I mean, because you can find people who like to tie one on a party in any city. That's not
right. There are party circles everywhere. But if you're comparing the city of Portland's party scene overall to the likes of Vegas and New Orleans,
it's not
and
a top
Miami,
5 or 10 like that.
It's not even close.
You don't have to go. I get it in Portland. If you run in the right circles, I'm sure there's great times to be had in Portland.
Well, that's true in Yakima.
Exactly. My point is, when you're in New Orleans, if you're in Vegas, you don't have to seek out S. It's just there. You stumble ass backwards into it. That's an unintentional, what are we doing tonight? I guess we're out. Oh, we're partying. I mean, come on. Same thing in Miami, New York.
Get out of here with that.
Again, the fact of the matter that you have to go looking for bars that stay open past 12:30 or 1 is all you need to know.
All right, coming up here. In the club, we've got Beyonce doing country.
Yeah, and apparently people are pissed about it.
And we'll talk about Valentine's Day.
Oh, yeah, that's tomorrow.
This hour, we'll check back in on the future of Brock Purdy, and Kyle Shanahan has expanded on his overtime plan. And we'll put I think we finally get to put to bed the Tay Travis, the fix is in bullsh now.
El Travidor. Do we?
I think we do.
Oh.
It's over. They won.
Well, but that doesn't mean that the fix wasn't in.
I didn't say it wasn't. It's over.
Project Psyop is on, baby.
Works.
Well, it worked. What's next?
Dark Brandon.
They win again?
Dark Brandon tweeted about it.
Who?
President Biden. You didn't see that?
Did you just call him Dark Brandon?
You haven't missed it. So he tweeted, like they have a thing now where he's Dark Brandon. Like they make fun of the MAGA people where he's got like red glowing eyes. And after the Chiefs won, like the president's account tweeted out a photo of him as Dark Brandon with the red eyes, and it was like all according to plan.
Like he leaned into the fact that other people were calling conspiracy on this thing, which is great.
I'm glad he's laughing about it. Did you see? Remember we talked about the before we get to the hot 5 here. We talked about the prop bets for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Last week, and one of them was, would Donald Trump tweet about Taylor Swift or I don't know, Truth Social, whatever you call it. He did.
Did he?
Sure did. It was hilarious
before the game.
Oh, I didn't see that.
What a lock!
Was it something
like 4 hours before the game? He basically said that he made her a ton of money and Joe Biden's never made her any money.
Oh, I did see that one, but I didn't know that was during the Super Bowl.
Oh man! All right, we got to go. Time now for the Hot 5 at 5.
We got to go right here.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victor Rico's Mexican Food, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Online at victorricos.com. Number 5.
Well, the draft rumors are already circulating. The Commanders have a new head coach, Dan Quinn. They have a new offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury. Apparently, they're looking to trade up to number 1 and nab Caleb Williams, the quarterback out of USC.
So now becomes the question, what does Chicago want to do? Is there some talk of maybe Pittsburgh being involved in the Justin Fields sweepstakes? Do they move him? Do they move down? Do they just decide to take Caleb Williams? I mean, Chicago is sitting in the catbird seat right now.
The Commies currently pick number 2, and the Bears are reportedly willing to listen to offers.
Yeah. So, and then even if they do trade number 1, do you stick with Justin Fields, or are you just moving down to 2 or 3 and then taking either Drake May or, whatever quarterback that you want in the draft? Which, again, everything hinges on what Chicago wants to do. You see, a lot of the pundits now starting to poke holes in Caleb Williams.
Uh-oh. Here it comes.
Yep. There's going to be a lot of that.
Blazers host the West Best Minnesota Timberwolves tonight and Thursday before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Minnesota is 37-16. The Zers are banged up yet again. No Brogdon, no Sharp. Scoot, questionable. He has a foot injury. Simons and Reith, it sounds like, will play. Thank God. Well, actually, for you, that's bad. Because you're rooting against
I think we're okay with that lineup.
I'm not overly stressed. I think with that lineup against Minnesota, we feel pretty good. Although Anthony Edwards, I guess, he was day-to-day, so I need him to play.
You really think they need him?
I'd like to. As someone pointed out, after getting the whole Pistons embarrassment thing, I'm afraid that they're going to come out and put together like a great effort tonight.
Well, let's have a spicy first half where they go up by 8 or 10, make the people feel good, maybe up by 13 after the first quarter, then you can let that thing slip away.
That's what we're all about. That Pistons game was perfect. I enjoyed it greatly.
The San Francisco Giants have added slugger Jorge Soler to their lineup. It's a free agent deal, 3 years, $42 million. He's coming off a season where he hit 36 dingers, first All-Star appearance. Key free agents still left out there as pitchers and catchers start to filter in. You've got Cody Bellinger and Blake Snell.
Yeah, kind of weird that Bellinger hasn't signed anywhere yet.
What's up with that?
I don't know. Have you seen anything on that? I don't know why he's still floating out there in the breeze. It's like a JD Martinez situation. Remember a couple years ago where he couldn't seem to find a deal?
By the way, JD Martinez still
still out there. I guess the Mets are talking to him, which
nice hitter.
I have no problem if they decide to go down the JD Martinez road.
Number two.
Yeah, that's right. Michigan sets a record for most players from one school invited to the NFL Combine.
18. Well, Harbaugh said at the start of the year that he thought that he could break Georgia's record of 15 players drafted. People laughed at him. He got 18 invited to the Combine. I don't know if he's going to get 18 drafted, but, The
previous record Combine invitees was LSU 16. And then, yes, the record for most players drafted in one draft from the same school is 15, set by Georgia in 2022. The Ducks got 7 invites. Jackson Powers Johnson, Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Bucky Irving, Brandon Dorless, Kyrie Jackson, and Evan Williams.
Yeah.
And the Huskies will have 13 guys there.
And in case you're wondering, it's like a committee votes on it, and then they kind of do like a point total thing. It's like a Miss America pageant. If you get enough, then you get invited to the Combine.
And obviously for guys who thought they got snubbed, there will be pro day opportunities for them to work out for scouts.
Fine.
Saw a couple Cougs, like Stone didn't get invited to the Combine, and he's had a real nice productive career up there. I mean, it happens every year. Plenty of guys get drafted that don't go to the Combine, but obviously, when you think you're a big-time prospect, you want to be invited to the Combine.
College football playoff and ESPN have agreed on a 6-year extension worth only $7.8 billion US.
It's not too shabby.
This makes the network the home of the event through 2031-32. 2 years remain on the current deal. That's worth about $600 million per. In other not so surprising news, the Pac-12, or shall I say the Pac-2, has begun the process of separating from Commissioner George Kliavkoff.
Yeah, there's a bunch of little news and nuggets. I also saw today that for the next 2 years, believe it or not, the schools that left the Pac-12 will still play in the Pac-12 bowls. If Oregon doesn't go to the college football playoff, the new expanded playoff, they will still play in the old Pac-12.
The Holiday Bowl?
Yeah. They're saying the affiliations will still stand.
The affiliations will still stand.
Won't have the opportunity yet to reshuffle them.
Yeah.
Who cares?
And right now, Washington State and Oregon State are putting the hold up on making the official expanded playoffs. You know, because it was 6-6, and now they're trying to make it 5-7, but it has to be unanimous. And
you should explain that.
So under the originally the expanded format was going to be 6 conference champions, the 5 power conference, and then 1 group of 5, the highest ranked champion, and then 6
at large.
6 at large. Well, then obviously there is no more 5 power conferences. There's only 4, and so everyone now wants it to be 5 conference champions, 4 power conferences, 1 still group of 5, and then 7 at-large berths. But that needs to be unanimous if they want to do that over the next 2 years. And old Kirk Schultz, the up at Washington State, is saying no, they're not voting for it. He's saying that they want guarantees moving forward with voting rights, distribution money rights, and eventually them being considered a Power 5 when they eventually rebuild the Pac-12. And no one likes that. So right now there is still a bit of a hold up there with Washington State and Oregon State. So there's just some little kind of news and notes going on from the Pac-12.
Victor Rico's Mexican Food brings you the Hot 5 at 5, the most popular burrito spot in Oregon. Order now at victorricos.com. We will wrap up the Super Bowl next on The Fan.
Yeah.
My coaches hate the media. But I think Kyle Shanahan's handling this quite well. He's not getting
super defensive and butthurt.
And he could.
Sure.
And because it's probably super annoying. You know, the depths, as you well know, the depths to which this guy and his staff go to try to win a football game, the layers of that, the intensity of that, all of the different things that go into that, and all anybody wants to ask him about is his overtime decision.
Yeah. And by the way, they were one play away from winning the Super Bowl, and
But all anybody wants to ask him about is his overtime decision.
Yep.
It's just that's got to be really annoying. Sure. But he's handling it pretty well, and he addressed it again today.
Another one.
I don't know why they're talking to the media again today. Maybe this is just their last bit before they go home. Mm-hmm. But he said. Okay, so this is from ESPN. After multiple Niners said after the game they were not aware of the overtime setup, Shanahan said Tuesday that he had laid out a plan with his staff before the playoffs began. Mm-hmm. He said he also instructed his assistant coaches to let the team know before the overtime period started, but did not feel the need to discuss that plan with his team before that point. He said, quote, "We told everyone as we were waiting for the coin toss to review everyone to make sure they're sure before we go out." That's an obnoxious quote. He's basically saying, I told my staff to let the team know, here's what we decided. Yeah. They did not tell them before that point. They only told them right before the coin toss, like, here's how we're going to play this.
It's going to cross that bridge when we get there.
But apparently the coaches did talk about it even before the playoffs, what they would do.
So they were aware. But as opposed to Kansas City that said they talked about it, preseason and leading up to it.
Yeah, Reed talked about it with his players. Shanahan only talked about it with his coaches.
Yeah.
And so he says, I didn't cover it in a meeting on the Super Bowl week. I don't think that changes anything. And I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think that's wrong.
I think it's weird. But again.
You think it's weird that he didn't address it with the team?
Absolutely. Because almost every team that I've ever been on, situational football is a big deal. It's just, at every practice you have red zone, you have third down, you have goal line, you have 2-minute drill.
And maybe you don't have to belabor it like those things, but you would think it would be mentioned.
I'm just a little surprised that in the biggest game that it wasn't discussed. Again, I'm not saying
Reed discussed it.
Exactly, and that's all I'm saying. It's just for someone that's so detail oriented, I'll just saying I'm a little surprised. If you asked me before that game, at $1,000 to bet, has Kyle Shanahan talked to his team about what they're going to do in an overtime situation with the new rule set? It would have taken me a quarter of a second to be like, absolutely, duh. Like, why wouldn't he? So it's just interesting. And then, the other thing that's come out is, have you seen the clips of Mahomes finding out that
he was laughing?
He's laughing.
Yep.
He's like, literally laughing. Like, what? Like they're taking the ball. Thanks. Awesome. So that, like, I understand, like, there's different ways to do things. You can interpret them and your own analytics, but
that's Patrick Mahomes laughing on
creepy.
Oh my God.
That's Candyman fucking
Whoa. Can't say that.
No, you can't. Bloody Mary type stuff right there.
Just making sure Buck's awake.
We got to jump in, don't worry.
What? Fried my brain with that one.
Oh no.
Some sort of weird torture there on that.
I'm offended.
I was not prepared for the repeating Pat Mahomes laughter.
I've been so afraid that I would do exactly that thing following the Super Bowl, so thank you.
But when you make a decision and the other team is really excited about it,
yeah,
that may
probably
be
the wrong decision.
Maybe an indicator that that's not the best thing in the world, which is, I've always wanted to, and I've never been close enough with a coach, but I would love to sit down and it's like with Dan Lanning, right? I would love to sit down with Dan Lanning away from cameras, like if we actually had a close relationship, and just talk about situations like that. Like obviously the Washington going for it thing, I would love to have a real honest conversation, because I think to some extent coaches do, the Shanahan and Lanning, they give you a certain amount, but they're never going to really open up about it. And I would love to have those conversations. Like even the third down, both third downs, I would love to sit down with Kyle Shanahan sometime and be like, how close were you? Is that one of those things? Was it debated? Did you think about going forward on fourth down? Why did you run a bunch formation with a complex blocking scheme when you knew that Spags was going to blitz? Like why, like what in your mind, or was it one of those things where you're like, hey, looking back on it, I made a poor choice. Yeah, I should have, and they'll never admit to those sorts of things, and they're questions that'll never get answered. But when you have plays like that are so important and decisions that are so important, I wish that we could get a little truth serum and kind of get behind the scenes on it.
The next question is, do you believe Shanahan? Or is he covering up for the fact that they had no...
This is, again, another one where I wish that there was some truth serum.
And that's being speculated widely throughout the 49ers fan base. Did he actually...
Did he really know?
Or is it easy to go back and say, oh, yeah, I did, and know that
I'll
no
tell
one's
you
gonna call
what,
him
you
on
pull
it.
a Staboner like that, and you don't know, like you're not aware, you think if you go down and score a touchdown, you win. Dude, you don't own up to that. You don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
that's what
he would have made this up.
Exactly. If that's the case, you lie and you keep lying and you take that to your effing grave.
That's why we're like, when the smartest guy on the team, the dude from Harvard, was like, no, we thought we were going to get the ball and score and it'd be over. I'm like, did anybody know? Did anybody know?
Yeah. It's
Brock Purdy said that Brock Purdy did confirm that Brian Griese, who is our quarterback's coach, came over to him before the coin toss and explained the new overtime rules to him. That does check with what Shanahan said. He told his coaches, go tell your guys what the deal is with OT. Which, I don't know, I guess I'd buy it. I mean,
look, it's more plausible that he did that than he just wasn't aware. Like that's almost unbelievable that he wasn't aware of the rule change. Like, but and so I tend to believe. I tend to believe him, and you got the coaches backing you up. Although, is it that hard? Again, just putting my conspiracy theory hat on to go to Brian Griese and be like, "Hey, listen, dude, you freaking back me up on this."
I mean, you could say afterwards to all your coaches, "Hey, I'm letting them know that you guys all knew, and you're going to come."
Well, if he's lying and he didn't know, for as much dissension has already occurred with the Niners, somebody would have let that out.
You think it would have been out there?
Yes. Yeah. A coach would have been like, dude, they would have snuck to a media member like, dude, he had
an anonymous member of the staff said.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And that hasn't happened.
Well, unfortunately, especially if he never wins one again, it's not the thing that ultimately decided the game. It was a piece to it. But this will haunt him forever. This will go down as one. Because, you forget. Like, even go back to, let's go back to some of the Patriots Super Bowls. And those weren't that long ago. And we don't remember all the details on them. You remember, there was some late kicks. And we remember, the Seattle Super Bowl, the great catch down the sideline. We remember the Marshawn Lynch moments. But for the most part, details fade. This will not fade. We will remember two things about this Super Bowl. You will remember the Pat Mahomes drive to win the game, and you will remember Shanahan deciding to take the ball.
Well, now every football fan moving forward is always going to know the overtime rules because of this incident. This will be the incident that everyone points to as like, that's why we know.
Yeah. Can we also state on this subject that you and I were both surprised when we found that out, which because we're such great sportsmen, we found that out. I remember talking about it on the show. Yeah. Where it came up during the regular season for some reason. Yeah. And we were both surprised that, in other words, what I'm trying to say is it was kind of a clunky rollout by the league.
Yes.
Let's be honest. There was a lot of confusion about what the hell was going on with overtime in the playoffs.
Yes.
But that should, if you're the two teams in the playoffs, you would think you would be buttoned up on the subject, much like Andy Reid was.
Yeah, because my dumbass, I thought that they changed this for all the overtime. Right. And then we got to an overtime game, and it turned out it wasn't that. And then that made me question everything. I was like, wait, didn't they change the rule? And that's when we looked it up, and we're like, well, they did change the rule, but they only changed it for overtime. And a couple, because they changed it multiple times over the last 10 years, like small tweaks.
Well, the first thing they did was they changed it so that both teams could have a possession.
Yes.
But they don't do that. Like RJ was saying this the other day, he was like, why don't they just make it a uniform thing? If that's the way you want to play it in the playoffs, play that way in the regular season. And I agree, but what they're trying to do is minimize these games going forever.
Yes.
They don't need to do that in the regular season. You can have ties.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you have to have a winner, so it's like this is how we're going to play it. Both teams get a possession, then it's sudden death, you go, which I think is the best way to play overtime in the NFL. But I see why they don't do it that way in the regular season.
It's just it's clunky, but I will tell you that after Sunday, we all know there's no more. And I'll tell you what, the next time this happens in the postseason, I promise you that whatever coach wins the toss, he ain't taking the ball. This will be the last time. I'm calling it right now. This will be the last time that a team takes the ball first in overtime.
Here's a couple text messages. Vancouver Fort text line. You talk about this stuff all the time. The little things that make a difference in close games, and things like Andy Reid going through the overtime rules with his team and Kyle Knott counted in the end. Yes, we talk about this constantly.
It's the difference between good and great.
It just blows me away how little details like that slip through the cracks.
And yet details, I mean, and this goes in every aspect of your life, from your marriage to your business to your kids to all of that. You find someone that's detail oriented, and I'll find you someone that doesn't win all the time, but you're going to be you're going to be in better shape. You set yourself up for success. And when you're dealing with two elite teams with two elite coaches, little details matter.
Someone else said when the ref was flipping the coin, he told both teams the rules. How is everybody overlooking that question mark? That's true. He did.
He did. Yes.
He did. He said it over the mic.
And that was what Juszczyk said, that he wasn't aware of it until then.
Yeah.
And Trent Williams said that he turned and looked up at the scoreboard
Eric Arm said too.
And was reading them.
Here's one more theory.
And that's all I'm saying is that's weird.
One more theory.
To me, that you're finding out about it right then and there.
One more theory. Is it plausible? And who was it? Was it Fred Warner that was out there?
And that was what I was going to ask, because the text line is on this too. The better question about not just what the assistant coaches did the one man going out there to make the decision for you, did he know?
Did Warner know? He didn't hesitate.
Is it plausible that Fred Warner was not told by his position coaches and they are covering for him?
No way, right?
Is that plausible?
I think that's possible. I don't know that it's likely, but it's possible.
Look, I just think Shanahan wanted the ball third.
And the other one, Suk, I wanted to ask you this, because this is what my brother said after the game. He said he thought that the defense looked so gassed it made sense to try to put the offense on the field. But you said with the weight, you can't imagine that being enough to weigh in.
I find that to be...
But that's not what he said, though. He said he wanted the ball third.
No, he didn't say that, no. But I also think he didn't want to put his defense under the bus.
Shanahan just said that he wanted the ball third.
Right.
But, dude, to act like your defense was so gassed that after all that time, and you probably had a good 10 to 12 minutes of just standing around between commercials and the coin flip.
Super Bowl. You got to take the statistical advantage, right?
I don't believe for one second that had anything to do with it. I just think Shanahan really believed that the advantage was going to be having the ball third. And for someone that's so smart, it perplexes me how you think that somehow getting the ball third, if it gets to that point, is better than giving that man across the sideline from you an extra down, which is all you did. I just think the idea of knowing what you need in any situation is the ultimate trump card, because it changes. Not only does it change, obviously, what you do on fourth down, but it changes what you do on third down. It changes what you do on first down.
Yes.
If you get a 3-yard loss on first down, it changes how you approach second down, because you know everything is 4 downs.
They know that they have 4 downs on every play now, and it feels like if Shanahan's being truthful, that he's outthought himself. Because if you're thinking about the third possession before you do the first and second, that's a problem.
Well, the only thing I can think of.
That's what somebody texted. He said, I think Shanahan buys into his own hype of being the smartest guy in the room and often overthinks things in high-pressure situations.
Well, and that's what I wonder about the...
That's right. Well, he's saying that he made this decision before the playoffs even started.
But I think about that, like sometimes being too smart for your own good. Again, I go back to that the third down play where they got fustigated there, where Chris Jones came free. Like, you're down there in the red zone where everything is bunched up already, right? And you know that Spagnuolo loves to blitz. And we know Shanahan loves a lot of these bunch formations, right? Where they kind of keep everything close, and then from there you can run picks and you run different formations off of it. But when you bunch everything up close like that, you know what that does to the defense? It allows you to disguise what you're doing, because you don't have to be spread out. When you spread people out, it's easier to identify what they're doing as a defense, because you kind of have to declare who's coming or not, because you're spread out. So this is why I say, like, is there an element to you can think think you're too smart for the room and that you're like, I have these creative ways of doing things and I scheme guys open. And so we run these bunch formations and we're going to give them this weird counteraction with our offensive line and we're going to pull a bunch of guys. Meanwhile, Spags is looking at this and being like, yeah, everyone go. Just like, full on, just send the house. Let's go. And sometimes simple is just better than complex. And that's another one. I wish I could sit down with him and just ask him, like, hindsight being 2020, man, did you really need to go with like this super complex thing? Or is it an element to spread everything out so we can identify who's coming and then trust that my offense that has 4 all pros on it, one of my guys can make a play, and then I trust Brock Purdy to deliver the ball, as opposed to trying to get real creative and funky with my schemes, knowing I'm going against someone that just heats me up every third down. I think Shanahan's biggest fault is exactly that. I think sometimes he gets too cute and he's too smart for his own good.
All right, checking back in on the future of Brock Purdy next. Here's Buck.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports
that
would they have the guts to put the franchise tag on him? But I'm assuming that at some point next year, he gets a deal done and probably signs something along the Daniel Jones line where it's going to be 40 in the low 40s. The team won't be committed to him for more than 2 or 3 years. There'll be an out there. The first year or two of it will be team friendly to try to keep this window open as long as possible. I just can't see a scenario where San Francisco moves off of him. I mean, they've from Garoppolo to Trey Lance and then falling ass backwards into this, and your window is open right now. I mean, this very instant, and it's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder. So I just can't see a scenario where they move off of him.
Yeah, I don't know about moving off of him either, but make it a lot tougher to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
paying him $40 million a year.
Yep. The only thing is, like, when you sign someone like that, remember, you can fudge the numbers for a year or two before it becomes very, very uncomfortable. And so San Francisco is going to have some tough choices. I mean, Ayuk has one more year at like 14, and then what do you do there? I think Kittle more than likely probably needs to be gone. He gets paid a lot of money, and as good as Kittle is, one, he's beat up a lot, and look, he no-showed again. He just isn't consistent enough to pay him what he makes. So there's going to have to be choices there, and they're going to have to hit on young draft picks. Like, you think about guys like, Hufanga when he comes back. I mean, that's the sort of thing that keeps these windows open. Kansas City has the same thing. They're probably not going to be able to keep Snead and Chris Jones. They're probably going to have to make a choice on one of those and let the other one go. But when you draft well and you replace guys with young talent and you hit on draft picks, that's how you keep this window open.
Yeah, somebody mentioned on social media after the game, they're like, yeah, see, you can win a title when you're paying your quarterback. And I was like, man, that's a little, I mean, you've got the best quarterback we've seen in maybe ever.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that doesn't really, yeah, you can win titles when you're paying your quarterback if he's one of the all-time greats.
He's the outlier.
But, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a stupid argument.
Yeah.
It's just much tougher. And yes, the Chiefs can do it because Patrick Mahomes is that good. But look at all the other teams that are paying their quarterback. It's much, 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 much harder.
Well, and next year, Mahomes' number jumps again. And they'll probably, reconfigure that. But have you seen his cap number next year? I think it jumps to, I'll look it up.
60?
I think it jumps into the 50s. This year, I think it was 37. So, I mean, it was bad this year, but it's going to get worse. And the nice part about a guy like Mahomes that you're not worried about kicking the can down the road is you can continue to fudge it. I'm looking here. Yeah, so this year it was 37. Next year it's 58.
Yeah, almost 60.
Yeah, and this is why I said, like, you will have to start making tough choices. Again, starting with, mark my words, either Snead or Jones are going to be gone because they're going to want top-end money.
Who would you... See, I'd keep Snead.
Younger, yeah. But that's tough to say because, like, I mean, I'm not just saying this. They don't win either one of those Super Bowls the last 2 years without Chris Jones.
No, I know, but you can sign you can sign a guy to replace either one of them.
Yeah.
But I think Snead I don't know. Something in my head says that it's probably easier to get closer to the level of Jones than Snead.
Well, and
in the free agent market.
Jones is 30. Let's look and see what Snead.
Well, he's not very old, is he?
No, I think he's a lot younger than that. Jarius Snead, he's 27, so you got 3 years difference. You do have an elite corner on the other side in McDuffie, who you hit on, who's young. I mean, I think that's a tough choice. But again, these are and Karlaftis has been a great pickup for them, and they've done a phenomenal job in drafting linebackers. They've done a really nice job. That defense was built young and cheap, and that's how you keep the window open. Like, we can talk all we want about Mahomes and all that, but they have already had to make their first chop, which was letting Tyreek Hill go. And they let Tyreek Hill go, who's the best receiver in football, and they won 2 Super Bowls. But why did they win those 2 Super Bowls? And you can talk all about like the Mahomes contract. Yes, they did it with Mahomes, but they also did it by hitting on draft pick after draft pick after draft pick and winning these last 2 Super Bowls largely based on their defense. And their defense isn't real expensive because, again, most of it is still playing on rookie deals. So, yeah, you can win with a $37 or a $40 million quarterback. All you have to do is be unbelievable in the draft and draft all pros on the defensive side of the ball and get them cheap, and have your quarterback be arguably the greatest quarterback to ever do it. Yeah. So, that's right. Anyone saying that this isn't a big deal. The salary cap, it
definitely is.
It's silly.
By the way, the Chiefs 7-0, 2 Super Bowls since trading Tyreek Hill, or since letting Tyreek Hill go.
That lets you know how good
in the playoffs, 7-0.
That's ridiculous. It's crazy. You don't give up the best receiver in a pass-heavy league and not have it affect you, and yet they've managed to do it.
The end of Taylor Swift
free agent signings out of college or drafted: Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, Brian Cook, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, Karlaftis. I mean, they have completely. Snead was in the 4th round. I mean, they have done an absolute tremendous job. And then on the offensive side of the balls, Pacheco was a 7th round pick. Creed Humphreys was a 2nd round pick. Rashee Rice, who turned out to be their best receiver this year, that was a 2nd round pick. They have hit, from home runs to doubles the last 4 to 5 years in the draft. It is just littered with Leo Chanel, who was a 3rd round pick out of Wisconsin. I don't know if anyone watched him play, but because San Francisco runs so much tight end fullback sets where they run Kittle and Juszczyk on the field, that it kind of forces him into action. And Leo Chanel was an absolute game wrecker. He was the one that forced the fumble. The McCaffrey fumble. He played phenomenal, and he's just an anonymous 3rd round pick out of Wisconsin 2 years ago, and he was absolute gangbusters. That team, it's not just Mahomes. Everyone's going to sit there and say, read Mahomes, read Mahomes, read Mahomes. You do some digging into the way that roster was built and the way that roster was turned over from when they won their first Super Bowl to where now they've won their 3rd. That is a front office, that is a chef's kiss.
Who's their GM?
To their front office. Who's the Chiefs GM?
Who gets all the credit?
Chiefs GM. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, it's Brett Veach.
Yeah, Veach. And this is the good. I mean, you go back.
Where did he come from?
You go back to. I don't know where.
He's been with them for a while, right? He's been with them since 2013.
Yeah.
Started with as a personnel analyst, but he was initially a scout with the Eagles. So, but only worked for the Eagles and Chiefs. He's been with them for 11 years now. GM since 2017.
This is how dynasties. Obviously, dynasties are built with a quarterback and a coach. But how these windows stay open is
he's doing his part.
He is beyond doing his part.
Well, they also have Taylor Swift on their side.
That helps.
Little
psyops.
That's right.
Taylor Swift.
Tell you what, I loved her chugging that beer. Thought that was hot.
Someone made the argument that she was playing the Taylor Swift drinking game, and if that's true, that's amazing.
Is there every time she's shown you drink?
Yeah, there was a thing, and it's like every time they mention her or whatever, but every time they show her on the Jumbotron or wherever she slams, so you can see where she looks up and maybe realizes she's on the screen, and someone kind of points at her. So no one's certain, but that's the theory is that she was playing the Taylor Swift drinking game, and if that's the case.
That's great.
Well, the other videos,
bravo.
Triple fisting at the club now. She's got, including going right out of an open bottle of champagne. I saw some tweet that says, now when I drink out of the open champagne bottle, I'm told it's time to go home. But when she does it, it's cute and adorable.
Well, yeah, she's Taylor Swift and you're not. What don't you get about that?
I still can't get the arbitrary hate for her. She seems fantastic, and now she's showing an buttoned up, non-polished
really human side. Yeah.
And by the way, the prop went over. You called that.
Oh, yeah.
The prop was the over-under number of times she was shown on the broadcast was only 5.5.
Yeah.
It hit 11.
Yeah.
But it also didn't feel like it was too much either.
It was slow early, too.
I think the grand total was 54 seconds that she was on. So Megyn Kelly and everyone else that's bitching about it, is 54 seconds in a 4-hour broadcast.
And the one time she was chugging a beer, although I don't know. She probably knows that they're going to show her chugging a beer. But also, I got to say this before we go on to the club. More Blake Lively, please.
Oh, yeah.
This Taylor Swift thing's great, but Blake Lively right next to her, hubba hubba.
We had Blake Lively. Ice Spice was there as well.
Ice Spice became a very big deal in this Super Bowl. Not that she wasn't before, but yeah.
And then there was some other blonde
That was the little Annie-looking girl?
Yeah, with the little afro. Then there was there was another hot blonde that I don't know who that was. But she was in the back being all hot.
Random hot blonde.
Random hot blonde. So
were you guys Sopranos people? I was told that Blake Lively looked like Adriana from The Sopranos in her tracksuit fit that she had going on.
I can see that, but let's also not dismiss. Come on, that's little apples to oranges. Blake Lively greater than. But yeah, I see.
Indeed,
I liked the fact she was going like belly shirt with the Adidas tracksuit. She should have been wearing the Duncan suit. She should have been wearing the Dunkin suit. Which, by the way, if you were wondering if that Duncan's, the Duncan merchandise from the Ben Affleck commercial, if that's already jumped the shark, the answer is yes, because Darren Rovell tweeted out a picture of himself in the full outfit today, and any sort of cool that had going on is officially killed when Darren Rovell does it.
Well, our very own morning show of Dirt and Sprague has already proclaimed they will be the Dunkings for Halloween in October. Okay. So Swag and Sprague and Dirt, although he doesn't know it yet, are all going to be dressed up as those guys for
Good
Halloween.
luck getting the Dunkings outfit. They're sold out across the country. You can't get the stuff.
Maybe not by October. We'll see.
All right. Up next. Oh, yes, the club. We have Beyonce doing country and little Valentine's Day talk? Little V-Day?
Little V-Day? Yeah,
What'd you get me?
A little something? Well, you know what I got you.
Gross. It's 6 o'clock on the fan.
That hurts my feelings.
All right, sticking around for Window Nation here.
I got you new windows.
Oh, great!
Happy Valentine's Day!
God.
What better way to say I love you than the gift of windows?
That's fantastic.
That
you
is
probably got 50% off all window styles.
Damn right I did.
From Window Nation. The importance of windows, the feel of your home, the look of your home, the energy efficiency of your home, the value of your home. Windows are important, but we get it, and Window Nation gets it. They can be costly. So if you're not going to be selling your house anytime soon, which many of us won't, 50% off on all window styles right now from Window Nation is too good to pass up. Plus 0 down, 0 interest, no payments for 24 months, and a free Nest thermostat with the purchase of a house of windows. So now maybe the time to nudge you over the finish line on getting those windows replaced. You must call Window Nation at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Again, the number is 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com for this deal. They can install your new windows in 1 day or less, and all of their windows come with a lifetime warranty. Your quote is free, no obligation. So you can get that right now. Set it up at windownation.com or call 866-90-NATION. Now, please tell them that Isaac from The Fan sent you. windownation.com or call 866-90-NATION.
Hey, it's Rob, and for those who love to golf, you've heard how strong Langdon Farms plays in the winter. It's where I play all year, and that's because it's just a top-notch facility that provides great value on all fronts. But no course in our area is more committed to quality winter playing conditions. They invest in sanding, and the drainage is as good as it gets. You will see the difference when you play. Look, we're lucky. We can play year-round in our region, but for it to be most enjoyable, the course has to do its part, and at Langdon, they do. Langdon Farms, no better course in the Northwest for year-round golf. Book your tee time at langdonfarms.com.
There's no need to suffer in silence with erectile dysfunction. Multnomah Medical Clinic is here to help. Multnomah Medical Clinic is the first clinic in the area using a pain-free, pill-free, and non-surgical solution. Say goodbye to your ED problems and regain confidence in the bedroom with Multnomah Medical Clinic. Don't wait any longer. Reinvigorate your intimacy today. Stop treating the symptoms and start fixing the problem. Give us a call or visit our website at multnomahmedical.com.
Getting your biggest tax refund from Jackson Hewitt can lead to some spirited reactions.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Jackson Hewitt is so sure they'll get you your biggest refund that if they don't, you get your money back plus $100.
Jackson Hewitt, yeah!
Switch to Jackson Hewitt and we'll beat what you paid last year, even if you filed online.
Yeah!
Ain't nothing to it. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and pay less for tax prep, guaranteed. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, bag boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys, bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
The home of Primetime with Isaac and Sue. Always live on the Odyssey app is KFXX, KWJJ, HD2 Portland. 1080, The Fan.
That's his thing.
That's beautiful.
Isn't that great?
An Odyssey station. Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Stanford's. This classic American steakhouse has exactly what you've been craving. Visit them in Clackamas, Tanasbourne, or online at stanfords.com. First on the Fan, the Blazers are back in action tonight. They host the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are on the tail end of a back-to-back after beating the Clippers in L.A. last night. Portland trying to stop a 4-game skid. They are 8-point home underdogs. Tip-off at 7 over on Root TV. On the gridiron, 7 Oregon Ducks have been invited to the 2024 NFL Combine. Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Bucky Irving, Jackson Powers Johnson, all among them. 321 players invited in total. Also 4 Oregon State players, including Anthony Gould and Taliesin Fuaga. On the pitch, the Timbers and defender Juan David Mosquera have agreed to a contract extension through 2027 with an option for 2028. And in baseball, the Giants and outfielder Jorge Soler have reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal worth $42 million. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk. Spirit Mountain Casino is the place to watch and wager on pro and college games every week. Learn more at spiritmountain.com.
You're invited to play in the first annual Fan Winter Golf Classic at X Golf Tualatin and X Golf Vancouver. Sign your threesome up at 1080thefan.com. The following show may contain adult themes not suitable for children.
Shut the hell up. Club 1080 with Isaac and Souk.
It does go well with a chicken.
How and why are you drunk at 6 o'clock?
Well, the how's pretty self-explanatory, and the why is because I thought we were leaving at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Ergo, Latin, plenty of time to sleep it off.
My son is an idiot. Germany's a great city. What is the freaking Texans doing? It's been many days.
The hottest spot north of Milwaukee.
I did it. Yeah, you pretty are. I feel like a total idiot. This is a conversation that I've tried to have. I digged a little bit. This is much ado about not a whole lot of nothing. The era has become.
Well, my.
All right, please stay long. It's the club hour. Excuse me, it's the club hour.
All right.
I got you, babe.
I got you, babe.
I got you, babe.
What's that from?
That's Chuck Pagano.
Oh, yeah.
He was all wasted, and I don't even remember why, because he didn't win anything, did he? What did he win? Was he a coordinator for a championship team?
We had that run with the, with the Colts that he was pretty good, but I don't know if he ever won anything. Then he got cancer. I don't know whatever happened to Chuck.
I saw him the other day. He was on Pat McAfee show. He's doing fine.
Is he coaching? Gloria! He was the defensive coordinator for the Bears up until a couple years ago.
No, he's not coaching.
No, it doesn't look like he's doing anything now. He's just hanging out. But yeah, he's been all over the place. Like college to the NFL, he's been lots of different places. But I don't see a Super Bowl.
What?
Buckley, do you have Beyonce clips I want to play?
Yes, I just put one on your page, and the other one's coming right now.
Thank you. You want to listen to some Beyonce?
Some country?
Some Beyonce? Yeah, she did it. She's doing country.
Yeah, I guess her and Post Malone have both decided to pull an Alan Jackson. They gone country. Why not?
By the way, did you see that? So I thought Post Malone was really good.
Doing America the Beautiful.
Yeah, before the game. I guess he was doing something in Vegas after the game where he was, all the Richie Riches went to one of his parties and he was singing. And, he's from Dallas, so he has that Cowboys jacket on.
Yeah, he was wearing that at the Super Bowl.
And what's her name? Brit?
Britney Spears?
No,
Brittany Mahomes.
Brittany Mahomes.
Got
she's Brit now?
Yeah, she got him to take it off and put on a Chiefs one.
Oh, all right. Well, when Brittany Mahomes asks, then you go ahead and do it.
And Brittany Mahomes, she has gotten much hotter.
Yeah.
And it was seemingly overnight.
Well, I mean,
because usually it's like during the off season.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, she'd been working out, and I think there was maybe a nip and a tuck. And
the photo shoot.
Good for her. Yeah. If you were going to be in Playgirl magazine.
I already was.
Don't you think that you would tone up a little bit and then maybe go see a plastic surgeon and just kind of,
all natural, baby.
you just walk out there, you wouldn't trim anything?
Nope.
You're just like on full display?
Like Burt Reynolds.
Good for her for I still kind of feel bad for her because, again, people made fun of her because they said she was ugly, and now that she it got hotter, now people are pissed that she's like hot. You can't win.
So everybody's talking about this now. So Bebe put out her
country.
Well, she. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
How am I doing?
You're doing great. Impossible is nothing. Yeah, she went country.
Well, she announced it at the Super Bowl.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, she was wearing the cowboy hat, and believe me, my gal was all over it. She could give a damn about this Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But the fact that Post Malone and Beyonce were both going country, let me tell you, that was the buzz.
And that's exactly why she did it.
Yeah.
So she had a Super Bowl ad saying, release you saw her ad, and then the music came out shortly thereafter, which I guess totally screwed Usher because usually the Super Bowl halftime artist gets a bump in music downloads after they play, but Beyonce totally just squashed him.
Really? She swiped it?
Well, yeah, because she put out music.
She's got the Bayhive.
Yeah. The Bayhive saying, enough of this Usher, let's go get Bebe's country music. Do you want to hear it? I have it. I want to play it for you.
I have heard one.
Have you heard it?
Well, I've heard one.
What'd you think?
Again, it's fine. I'm not a huge Beyonce guy. I don't understand why it's country music or why she's doing it, but it sounds fine. It sounds like a little country pop tune. It's not much different than the other stuff I hear on country, like radio.
Okay. Here is Beyonce. She's got 2 songs that she's released here. One is called Texas Hold'em.
This is the one I've heard.
Bombs. I'm saying bitch. Beyonce's saying bitch and then topping it off with an S. What's next?
I don't know.
God. Here's 16 Carriages. So that was a catchy little ditty.
Sure.
I'm sure the country folk will like that.
Oh no, already.
Oh, they hate it.
Well, there was the thing already that was going around where people I don't remember. I think it was in Texas that people are requesting the Beyonce song. And one of the programmer managers was sending a letter and an email back telling people, please stop. We're a country station. We only play country music. And of course Beyonce fans are beyond pissed off because let's be honest, there's plenty of country music on country radio that is not very country.
I thought we went through this all with Lil Nas X and the Country Road thing.
Yeah.
Did we not?
Did country stations play that?
Wasn't it like the #1 country song on country charts, I thought?
Look, all I know is that there are some stations out there that are saying they're not going to play Beyonce and because it's not country music and people are pissed off.
Did this guy come out of his office with his spurs on and his
I just be careful.
Cigarette?
Yeah, you don't want to pee in the face of Beyonce's fans.
Yeah, why wouldn't you play it, you dumbass?
Nah, and then
better than the crap you play.
Well, this goes back to the only one of the reasons Beyonce she's claiming that she says she wants to reclaim country music because there's a lot of racial tension in that genre and there always has been, and she says that she's coming to kind of save it from the xenophobic
well, now how would she do that?
Well, again, I think that's her whole point is she wants to come into country music and do something besides the ultra right wing, small town guns, Bible. Yeah.
I get it, but you're not going to be saving. I got news for you, baby. You're not going to be saving country music.
No.
This one's called 16 Carriages.
And if you know anything about country music, black and liberal doesn't necessarily go hand in hand. Again, the biggest star in country music got caught on camera yelling the N-word, and it made him more popular.
Do they hate the guy that did the thing with Tracy Chapman? Because he's country.
No, Luke Combs? No, he's a big deal.
But they love him.
But yeah, they were upset, though. That
he sang a black girl song, though.
Yes.
And they're okay with that?
Apparently. Well, and then there's an African American girl, I think Nikki Guyton, that sings a song called "Black Like Me," and that was getting a lot of run, and that pissed some people off because again, they're doing the only reason you're popular is because you're black and a woman, and that genre has there's a lot of.
I wonder what Tim Taylor thinks.
A lot of issues in there. Yeah. I
love your peanuts, man.
I just shrug my shoulders at stuff like this. You can't make everyone happy. Beyonce's a big freaking deal, and she's going to sell a gajillion albums. And a lot of people will claim that they'll never listen to country music again and screw her and blah, blah, blah.
I think it would be great if all these big-time artists just start making country music and all the country artists are like, oh, crap.
Well, I mean,
and they sell more country than any, and they don't even do country. They just do it. They do an album of it.
Yeah.
And then they outsell all the country losers.
Well, I mean, country music now, it's
all formula.
Country music is like stadium rock now. It's more classic rock than it is most things. There's huge elements of R&B and rap that have made their way into it. That you definitely see. There's certainly, pop, and there's very few outside of maybe a Chris Stapleton, certainly probably has more traditional country root vibes about him, but most of the big acts are some hybrid thing at best. So now you got Post Malone going into it. Kid Rock was screwing around with country for a while.
Didn't Hootie go?
Hootie went country.
Rucker most definitely did.
I mean, the biggest star in the world, Taylor Swift, was country, and then she moved over to pop. So
who do you prefer? You prefer Jay-Z and Bebe or Travis and Tay-Tay? Who do you think's the better celebrity couple?
I would go with Jay-Z and Beyonce as opposed to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce because, no offense to Travis Kelce, but I've heard him sing and no thanks.
Oh, you're talking about just singing? I'm just saying celebrity couple.
I think Jay-Z and Beyonce are slightly bigger. No offense.
Well, bigger, but I'm saying who do you think is? See, I go Travis and I'd much rather hang with Kelce and Swift.
Would you?
Oh hell yeah! Can you imagine how pretentious it'd be hanging with Jay-Z and Bebe?
I think
them talking about themselves all the time.
I think you would get sick of Kelce in about 7 seconds.
Yeah, he's not my guy, but I just snuggle up to Tay-Tay.
I'd like to hang out. Can I hang out with Taylor Swift and Jason Kelce?
No. They're not
to.
The celebrity couple.
He's really the big winner in all of this, though.
I'd rather hang out with him.
What about J-Lo and Ben? Are they more fun than those two?
I'm going to say no thank you.
I think J-Lo seems like the most insufferable of anybody.
But Affleck is...
I would love
he's an American treasure.
I would love to... Of all of those people, number one on my list to hang out with is Affleck.
But he get housed.
But the worst person to hang out with on that entire list, I believe, is Jennifer Lopez.
See, I think it's Beyonce.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know.
I guarantee you she's insufferable.
I think they're all insufferable.
I don't think Tay-Tay is.
Really?
That's my point. I can put up with Kelce if Swift's as cool as I think she is.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay with it. But, I mean, the worst couple is probably Kelce and Beyonce. You put those two together, get me out of that room.
That would be rough. That would be rough.
Get me into the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds room.
I bet Beyonce wouldn't be able to stand Kelce. I think they would not get along.
He couldn't stand her either.
Maybe.
It's just, Jay-Z seems cool.
I think he'd be all right.
Jay-Z seems like a guy I'd like to hang out with.
He would be a slow burn. He would burn. Over time, you'd be like,
he might be the guy who kind of can't be bothered, though. Yeah, like you said, it could take hours before he actually gives you a real piece of conversation.
I just seen interviews with him where I think he seems like a cool guy. I watched his Letterman special, and I like what Jay-Z's bringing to the table. Beyonce does seem like a lot, but again, I think when you're that level, this is why I don't know what Taylor's. I just think when you reach that level of fame, how are you not a lot?
Taylor's not. It seems like
She does seem a little more down to earth than
She's
most.
a lot more down to earth than these other bitches.
Can I throw a Miley Cyrus in there? Because I'd like to hang out with Miley Cyrus.
I would not like to hang out with her. She seems insufferable.
She seems like a lot, but it seems like a lot that I would like to be a part of.
Super talented, though. What about David Beckham and Victoria? You want to hang with them, or are they boring now? They're too old.
She just seems like a robot.
Yeah. And he's not.
Well, no.
I watched that documentary on him.
Yeah.
Wasn't much to that guy. I don't know. He's good looking and he can play soccer. He's not that interesting to me.
He is good looking and can play soccer.
Give me Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. That's the couple that I want to hang with. I like them both.
That's probably
He's awesome and she's hot.
That's probably the number one celebrity power couple. If you're doing the ultimate hang, you're probably going with that. But like, even I don't know. I want to believe that he's down to earth, but who knows? Like, I love The Rock, but he seems beyond. Like, you want to talk about insufferable? Because he seems like he comes across as the nicest person in the world.
Is he insufferable?
I think he is beyond insufferable.
Wouldn't a celebrity couple Olympics be awesome?
That would be fun. Pair them off.
Yeah, where they all play like pickleball and Connect Four and stuff.
I'm trying to think of who would be the ultimate athletic power couple. Like J.J. Watt's wife. She was a soccer player. By the way, did you see J.J. Watt and his weird...
I did, and I can't believe we have not talked about this yet. What is he doing with his hair?
Someone actually claimed Rob had J.J. Watt hair today on the YouTube
well, maybe.
thread.
Yeah, I've had my hat on. I don't style my hair.
You were on national television for Super Bowl coverage?
Dude, his hair looked like Adam Bjornson from 1990.
I feel like he's going through a weird midlife crisis like that.
What is that, dude?
I don't know.
Somebody's got to tell him. And I know that on social media he came out and he's like, yeah, I get it. I shouldn't have changed up my hairstyle, because everybody was obviously giving him all kinds of crap for it. But, dude, somebody doesn't tell him this is probably not the best look for the biggest game in the world. Like,
it was a rough go.
We watched Jason Witten go through this like a year or two ago.
Yes.
Like J.J. Watt was auditioning to be a member of Rascal Flatts.
It looks like he was trying to be that guy.
You know those things where you can buy them, like they're like little, it's not really a wig, but you put it on your head and it looks like hair.
Yeah.
That's what he had on.
He looks like Jason Bateman in Dodgeball. Let's see if it pays off for him.
This bold strategy, Cotton. Well, again, I'm guessing a wife or a stylist was like, man, we're going to make you youthful. And, this is like when Colin moved to Fox and he dyed his hair black. Everyone has that weird moment where you try to be a little young, like you're fighting getting old, you don't want to embrace it. And, maybe you go out and you buy a leather jacket or you buy some skinny jeans, you do something. We've all had it. Like, you do something, and his was in front of 120 million people.
Boy, that was such a bad look.
And someone's right. The power couple that I would most want to hang out with is Emily Blunt and John
Krasinski. I think they'd be fantastic.
That couple is great.
I don't know much about them.
One, Emily Blunt is a national treasure, and John seems so cool. They live next door to Jimmy Kimmel, and I guess they have like a war going with Jimmy Kimmel where they do things back and forth to each other's homes, and they just seem like wonderful, normal, down-to-earth sorts of people. And I love me some Emily Blunt, and I would want her to dress up as Mary Poppins.
Up next, what's everybody doing for their ladies for V-Day? What's the expectation?
Buying windows, from what I hear.
Windows.com.
Get on it.
Or windownation.com. Not Windows. windownation.com. Sorry.
Do it now.
It is 6:23 on the Fan.
The home of dirty
that she doesn't make a big deal out of it.
Are women softening on Valentine's Day?
I don't know if all women are.
Because mine's kind of the same.
And by the way, that's a ballsy move. If you do the old, hey, what do you want? Oh, don't give me anything. You better get her something. But it is nice when it's not, I don't know, when it's just not like this huge deal.
Well, but V-Day, cards and flowers always works. Like, you're good with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do they really look at the flowers after the initial thought? Probably not. But...
Well, you gotta go and you don't do cheapo the flowers you know.
You go. Yeah, that's right. You gotta go
because you can normally if you're you can swing by Safeway and pick up pick up a 25, 30. Yeah, spend a little bit more. Go to a nice place, and if you're even if you don't want to go to a florist, go to a New Seasons or a Whole Foods or whatever, and they'll have a nicer selection there.
Right.
They'll put together something nice for you.
That's spoken like a veteran, right there.
There you go.
You just gotta up the flower game, get nice ones so they stand out. They're special.
Yes.
And a card, and then
then you do it. And
yeah, and then a D in the box.
No, let me ask you this: do guys out there get things for Valentine's Day?
No.
So you have to get I'm going to Buckley over here.
I mean, maybe something small that's just a thoughtful type deal. I don't know. My wife's thing is she wants a thoughtful card.
That's small.
I just was wondering. You said just something small and meaningful, and I was
no. No, but I don't know, some sort of. I don't want to say a trinket gift because it's not like a tchotchke, but I don't know. She might give me some kitchen gadget or I don't know. It's almost like a stocking stuffer type gift just for the sake of exchanging something.
It's to let you know that they're thinking about you.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's what the flowers are. Nobody really cares about flowers, but it gives them the signal that you've thought about them and that's what they like.
Yeah.
So just do that. I don't know.
Did you do that?
What? This year?
Did you do flowers?
Let me show you something. Now, do not say what this is, please.
Okay. Oh, look at you. You slick son of a gun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, that's a bit of an upset.
That's what I got.
I would not have thought that you pulled that.
Well, I'll just say this.
Yeah.
In the interest of being vague.
Yeah.
It's sort of a special circumstance.
Okay.
But I wouldn't normally do that.
Okay. I was going to say,
I'm not that nice.
I was going to say, this is, we can't say what it is on the off chance she's listening. She's not. But that is not a normal.
No.
That is not a normal Valentine's gift.
These same circumstances led a friend of mine to do something similar,
yeah.
I think.
Well, I'm going to get some. Let's tell you that.
Again, are you getting the thing that you don't normally do or the thing that you never do? Because I think that warrants something different. I would assume.
Well, I always get jaded this time of year because I have the trifecta, as you know.
Yeah.
I have the Christmas, birthday, Valentine's Day, all in an 8-week span.
Yeah.
And so by now I'm burnt out.
Sure.
And I'm just like, my God, another thing? I would like it more spread out. Like some people are like, oh, it's great. You just get it all out of the way and then you don't have to worry about it. No, I'd like it more spread out because of the money.
Well, that's mine. So we have our anniversary at the beginning of February, then you have Valentine's Day, and then towards the beginning to middle of March, it's her birthday. So and the same thing. There's a lot.
That's a lot.
There's a lot jammed in there.
Because you have to make each one special and you have to. And it's like coming off a big game,
Yeah.
Like I'm coming off a big game. I poured my heart and soul into that game, and now I got to get up for another game. It's tough.
It's tough too, especially if you go all in on the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl runs around, you're worn out.
That's the other thing. You got to space it out and be like, okay, so if I'm going to do this for Christmas, then what am I going to do for those other two to make it?
It's tough.
To make sure it,
Yeah. That's tough.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot. We started doing I always do hey, why don't we I'll take you somewhere. Let's go on a trip.
That's what we did.
I'm a big trip guy.
So our Vegas trip this weekend is for her birthday.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I was able to get away with that.
Yeah.
For the birthday.
The trip is always, it's by far the best way to go because then it's actually something that you will enjoy too. Yeah. As opposed to spending large quantities of money on something that you're like, oh my God. Like for the anniversary, I always keep a running list of things what do you want, right? Like things that you like, and you kind of keep a running list, and then you have an idea. Do you ever struggle getting a gift that you just think is so stupid? I know it's what she wants, but if I think it's dumb, I really struggle to buy it.
No, that doesn't bother me.
It bothers.
If she wants it, and
I do it. But I'll tell you what, I have to hold my nose when making that purchase.
Like what?
So the last thing that I got for our
edible
anniversary,
panties.
no, rum raisin. I'm all over that. See that? I'm like, hey, let's spend some money. Let's go. If it's something that I think is of value, like a trip or something, or if there's, I don't know, like it just if she wanted something that I was like, oh, that makes sense. But she wanted one of these like health rings, right? Like the stupid
like the Aura ones.
Yes, the Aura ring.
I've seen them.
Which just seems like the dumbest thing in the world to me. You wear it and it tells you like
mood, right?
It tells you like what did you sleep well and like your menstrual cycle, and I'm like,
it's kind of like a Fitbit for your finger, right?
Yeah, it's like a $600 Fitbit.
Whoa, really?
Exactly.
Those things are $600.
And I'm like, you've got to be essing me. Like, there's no way you're gonna wear that thing every day. There's no way. Like, who cares? Like it tracks your menstrual cycles. Like, you're not having kids. Like,
wait,
what do
so is the hesitation because you don't think she'll use it, or just because you think it's dumb?
Both.
Okay.
One, what are you gonna do with this information? Like, nothing. You're not a health nut. I mean, for God's sakes, I watched you do a bunch of Jello shots and Fireball the other night. Like, you're concerned about your health? Stop it. Like, neither one of us. Like, we're not.
Just get her the damn ring and shut up.
Oh, I did. But and so then there's like different versions of it, right? And of course, like the one she wants is like the most expensive one. And I was just like, I'm sitting there and I was like, really? Like. And I was like, I know, this is what you wanted. So I held my nose. I bought the damn thing. But I'll tell you what, every time I see it now in the back of my mind, I'm like, you son of a bitch. I'm like, I can't believe
Where do you get one of those?
You order it from them, or I think you can buy them at like Best Buy or whatever. But they have a website. You do it. And then there's like a subscription you have to pay every month for them to like store your data.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, really?
That is kind of dumb.
It's the dumbest thing ever, and it's so you're basically spending $600 and then like $15 a month for someone to tell you if you slept well. At least with an Apple Watch, like you can get messages on it and it like tells you the time.
I think those are dumb. Can't you like get multiple gifts that she may want and then just decide which is the least stupid?
Well,
that was like the Larry David thing from Curb the other day. Well, you haven't watched the latest Curb.
Oh, the new one was better than the first one. I think.
Yeah, the new one was great. The lawn jockey episode.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, Larry tells Jeff, he's like, you don't know what to get her for her birthday. Get her two things and present her with one, and if it doesn't feel like it's enough, then go get the second one. But if not,
it's not a bad idea.
Then return the first one.
Oh, it's not a bad idea until Susie gets wind of the idea.
She catches him on the video.
All I know is that there are some gifts that I don't mind. You're like, it's expensive, but I love you, and it's something cool. And then every now and then you get asked to buy the world's most expensive heart rate monitor, and you're like, oh my God. How dumb is this?
Well, I can guarantee you, when we come back, I will tell you how I think I sort of inadvertently told my wife what to get me. I wasn't meaning it this way, but it ended up being this. And I guarantee you she thinks it's the dumbest thing ever. Guaranteed. Same with she's like shopping for this, like, oh my God, these are expensive, and why does he need this?
Well, look, I just find it interesting that when she comes up with something that I find ridiculous and stupid and impractical, I'm expected to buy it. But when she asks me what I want and I say a hooker, I'm suddenly the bad guy. And now, we can't do that. That's impractical. It's ridiculous. Double standards.
All right, here's Buck with sports.
Now, from the Spirit Mountain Casino Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on
even remember.
You're like,
I don't know if I get something. You were asking, do guys get things? I don't. My wife, every once in a while, but nothing major. Anyway, she yells from the other room. She's like, "Hey, do you like Bill Burr?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I like Bill Burr. I think he's hilarious." And then I said, "Well, why?" Because I thought maybe she was looking at tickets because he's coming to town.
Yeah, he's coming to town next week.
And so I thought she was looking at tickets. I'm like, well, I just preemptively said, well, don't. If you're looking at tickets, don't buy them because, we could maybe
get some
I
from
could
the
maybe
station.
Get some.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you make it really hard to buy anything for Valentine's Day. Her.
I get that a lot.
So I was like, oh, well, that's a nice idea, but I mean, if we can get them free, why, don't do that. So then I come home from golf the other day and I carry my bag a lot. Or some.
Like on the course?
Yeah, sometimes I carry. I don't know why. Sometimes I push cart and sometimes I carry. The other day I carried and I came home, I was bitching about my back. I'm like, I gotta stop carrying this bag. And I played, and so I'm telling her this totally inadvertently. I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, I played with this guy who had one of those electric push carts, with the remote controls.
Yeah.
She's like, what? I'm like, yeah, this is new thing where the thing will just follow you. You just put it on the thing like I have, and it will just follow you. You just move it around with a remote control. It's great. You don't have to carry your bag or anything. And so I think I inadvertently
put it in her head,
planted that seed that she's going to get me one of those.
Do you want one of those?
I tell you what, I wouldn't turn it down, fella.
Huh.
Those things are great. Everybody I've ever played with that has one swears by them.
Well, they are pretty awesome. I just feel like you, as kind of traditional golf bro, might look down your nose at guy who has the Bluetooth cart pusher thing.
I do, but at the same time, I love the idea of not carrying or worrying about my bag. Just like even the push carts are a beating, in my opinion. It's like when you're have you ever played golf with a caddy?
I never have, but I will next month.
Bandon, right?
It's nice.
It's the greatest thing ever. Yeah. It changes everything. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. I want that. But I also don't want a personal caddy.
I think that's the key is you should tell your wife, Miss Moneybags in there, that what you want is a personal caddy. And if she loved you, get yourself a manservant. You tell me if you weren't rich, you wouldn't have a private caddy?
Rich?
That'd be a baller.
Like super rich?
That'd be a baller move.
I think they would double as other things in our life, but yeah, maybe they could come out with me and play golf.
Stand the caddy, whatever?
Well, maybe Brittany or perhaps.
I don't think that would work. I don't think your wife...
she's really good.
You imagine if you had a hot...
She's good at her job.
There was a number of years ago, back in my married days, where my wife was sick, and so we had talked about getting a housekeeper. And so there was a service that a buddy of mine used, and I called them up and said, hey, we need someone to come over. And they're like, okay, we'll send over. You can do the initial, consultation, whatever. And you knew my wife, and you can tell how well this went over. Dude, they sent over like a 23-year-old hot. And I just, the moment I opened the door, I was like, thanks, this is awesome. I'm going to get my balls kicked in right now. Really cool. Needless to say, we didn't hire her, so I had to call back and tell the service that this wasn't going to work out, that I needed someone else. And I didn't want to just come out and be like,
older, uglier, please.
That's I was kind of alluding to the fact. I was like, are you getting my drift here? Like, you can't send over the 23-year-old hot, college student. No. I'm like, do you have anyone that's maybe, I kept saying words like a little more experienced, maybe someone that's done this for a while, maybe someone a little older, maybe someone that likes to cook or eat. Just give me an old fat lady. The oldest, fattest lady you have, send her over because that's the only way you're getting my money.
I don't know. Me being so sexist, I could probably talk her into I pay her less. I pay her.
See how that goes.
65% of what a man would get.
See how that goes when your wife finds out.
Save us some money, babe.
That your caddy is a smoke show. I met her down at the Bikini Barista place. She was talking about golf, and I thought, hey, what the hell? You want a job caddy? And she's like, sure.
I've told you this before. I don't think Buck has heard this, but I went to Bandon one year, and we had a caddy, and I happened to get it ended up being a boyfriend girlfriend thing.
Yeah.
But she was a little cutie. She was cute, and she carried my bag, and we're walking up the 18th fairway, and she tells me she's pregnant.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a,
and you've been carrying my bag all day.
There's the world's largest tip
on the back end.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, though, if you got a hot that was a caddy down at Bandon, that girl would clean up. The amount of dumbasses that would be shelling out dough left and right.
There is one. Yeah. She's famous.
And I'm sure she's killing it.
On Insta.
Yeah.
You can look her up.
Yeah. Hashtag Bandon.
I mean, I would.
Hashtag Bandon Hots.
I wouldn't know. 649 on the Fan.
Play golf where it's always warm. 1080 The Fan invites you to play in the first
can walk.
But some courses make you ride in a car.
That's true.
I mean, like you have to.
Yeah.
If you spray the ball like I do, walking's a good workout.
That's right. But, you know.
Get your steps in.
A lot of zigzagging.
If you need a $600 ring to tell you how many steps you've taken, I know where you can go get one.